Right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Vice President, members, guests, welcome to the 55th AGM of the Steamboat Association of Great Britain. First, before I start anything, can I give you the normal safety call? The fire exit from here is over there. Sorry, the fire exit is over there in this room. In the classroom, it's in the equivalent of this position, and in the lounge area, it's down the stairs or into any of these rooms. And I think the collection point is once you are out, it is on the car park, to go out to the car park. We've got the list of everybody here, so everybody has checked in. Can I remind you that after people have talked, can you, if you have any questions, can you please put up your hands, because we have somebody who will bring a mic to you so that everybody can hear what the question is, okay? Malcolm, it's coming out of here as well.
Yes, that's the idea. So
Oh,
you can see what's happening.
Yeah, I can hear what's happening.
Yes.
Okay. It's all right. I've got a monitor here that's speaking back to me. All right. Okay. First thing, can I remind you of the AGM changes? The change of the speaker this afternoon and the running order. Unfortunately, the speaker that we were to have, Mike Williams, couldn't be able to do his talk this afternoon, and Kevin very kindly managed to get hold of Ian Caskey, I think it's Caskey, from SS Great Britain to come and give us a talk. So thanks, Kevin, for sorting and getting us out of that mess. The other thing is that you probably have read, Lord Forsyth, who was our president, has had to step down. He has been made Lord Speaker of the House of Lords, and unfortunately, this precludes him from being president or anything of such associations as ours. So he has had to step down, and that was about 3-4 weeks ago, and we haven't had a chance to get around to sorting out a new one. If anybody has any suggestions of who they might think would be suitable to be our presidents, then please either let myself or Mark know, and we'll make a note of it. And it's one thing we will be sorting out. In his absence, our Vice President, Reverend Mark Riddell, who is here, will stand in for him to do everything. So he's been rather rushed off his feet today. It's a man of many hats that is on. And thanks, Mark, for doing that. Oh, the one thing I forgot to say was that because the speaker is coming up from Bristol and then driving all the way back, we've swapped the afternoon round. So the talk is first and the trophies are after. And also, while the talk is on, the classroom is being occupied for a meeting, so people will not be able to access it while the talk. The lounge area will still be available. If I can ask now our Secretary, Mark, for any apologies.
I turned it down, but it wasn't.
Oh, it's done it.
It was fine, yeah.
Okay. Right. Apologies. Michael Lisbell, Stephen Dilly-Bill, Adrian Birtles, Sandra Brown, Jeremy Clark, Michael Forsyth, Julian Garrett, Richard and Julia Havard, Brian Hilsden, Andy Hopper, Ian and Jan Ridley, Brian and Lynn Smith, David Hubbard, Trevor Barraclough, and finally Raina Bromkamp. And I apologise if I have missed anybody who has sent in their apologies. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Jane Bartrop. Mark, if you would like to step forward for the next bit, please.
This is the solemn bit in the meeting. I'm sorry you've got so much of me today, but I'm the only VP who's around. We're all getting pretty geriatric, I'm afraid, and I'm possibly one of the younger ones, which is worrying, isn't it? But anyway, this is the important bit because we do love to honour all former members, or all our members actually. The SBA is an association of friends, people with common interests. And we've had a number of those who've died over the year. And you probably realize as well that if you're a male and you've joined the SBA, whether she likes it or not, your partner is also a member. My wife is appalled by this, but it does mean that we honour also those who are our people who are close to us. I've been given a list of names of those we know who have died, and I know it's not complete, because we don't always hear. And so I'm going to ask in a moment if Mark could keep an ear open, because you may well have some other names to give us. But I'm going to ask us now to stand as we have this in memoriam time. And when I've read this list, I'm going to ask for any other names just to be called out. That would be good. And then we'll have a moment of quiet together, and then I'll call us back into the rest of the meeting. Roger Barker Green, Chris Brown of Town End Services, John Hope, Lorna Hopper, David Howard, Martin Marks, OBE, Evelyn Mitchell, John Tilley, and John Whitaker. Now, are there other names that you would like also remembered on this occasion? Rose May Milnes and Francis Keefe. Any other names? Well, let's just be quiet for a moment as we do honour to them in a moment of silence. Many of us have enjoyed the company of those we've named. Some of us didn't know them at all, but we honour them all as they have things in common, or had things in common, with all of us as steamboaters, and indeed as steamboaters from around the world. And so we may sit down and thank you.
Right, you got me back again. The next item on is the scrutiny of the minutes. You've all seen the minutes. Has anybody any comments on that will not be dealt with in matters arising or later in the proceedings? In other words, anything about the minutes that you think needs mentioning? No? All right. Can I have a proposer, please, for the minutes? Richard Bartrop, proposer. Seconder, Kevin Slater. We'll take a straight vote. If the people who are counting votes could stand up, please, and be ready. It will be a straight display of hands, before, against and abstentions, reminding you that, as Mark did say, partners are entitled to vote because they are classed as members. Can I have a show of hands for 4, please? Mark, you can't vote for your own minutes. Yeah, how many? Yeah. Any against? No, it's been passed unanimously. Any abstentions? No, no. No. Right. Right, it has come through. Matters arising from the minutes. If I can hand you over to Mark for the results of the constitutional election, which was from the meeting, last year's meeting.
Right, if you come in. Oh, yeah, might be easier. Okie dokie. Right, let me just try.
Down is what you want. That was up. That's it.
Okay. Excuse me. I've only got one hand. Right, I'm looking at the wrong piece of paper. Okay, good. I'm sorry about that. Right, you will recall that we had two constitution amendments at last year's AGM, both being passed, which meant that they would be taken to the entire membership for a subsequent vote. The following is a process of what should have been published in the last 2 funnels, but was not. The poll ran for 4 weeks, commencing the 22nd of September 2025. Now, if we look at this this slide here, the first resolution was essentially to reduce the quorum requirement from 60 to 40 members required at the AGM. You will see that 62 voted in favour at the AGM itself and 84 in the subsequent poll. Therefore, this resolution was passed. The second resolution was to amend the method by which we charge for the first year of membership, and it went from a quarterly to a monthly calculation. Here you will see that 63 voted in favour at the AGM and 86 in the subsequent poll. Therefore, the resolution was passed. I have revised the Constitution accordingly, and please note that without the First Amendment, we would not be quorate today. Thank you. As part of, before I hand back over to Dot, we are still on agenda item number 4. So does anybody have anything to say on that item? Which is matters arising from the minutes not elsewhere on the agenda. I'll hand you back to Dot. Thank you.
Can I have him?
Right. Actually, I should have gone back. Are there any other matters arising from the minutes that anybody would like to bring up? Is there any matters arising? No, there's no matters arising at all. Yeah. Right. Next thing, is the chairman's report. Right. Firstly, I would again like to welcome you to this year's AGM and to our return to the National Waterways Museum, Ellesmere Port, and to thank the management, especially John and a lady called Mel, which you might meet later on, for all their assistance. The first thing which I'd like to talk about is a resume of our activities of last year, starting with the most important, which was, of course, our events and socials. We had about 13 rallies last year, which were boating events purely run by the SBA, and the majority of which are now part of other rallies and activities, such as Bristol and Guildford, those, Exeter, where we're all part of, I've got tongue tied now. Okay, I'll leave that one. You know what I mean. Right. Also, we had 4 socials, mainly Christmas lunches. There were 2 visits last year, and we had 2 promotional stands. And the one other thing is that came into being last year was that Brian, our Midlands rep, has started to introduce Zoom meetings on various topics. And I know he is going to continue to carry on with these. We do have a full range of promotional literature available for the stands, which I'll come on to later. I'm getting tied up this time. Right. We've got a number of items already on the website again this year, and they're well worth looking at, but there's always room for more, especially non-boating activities. There's a new event this year, which is being organised by Dan Warner and is in conjunction with the Norbury Canal Festival, from which there will be a possibility of steaming to steam at the lift. They're within steaming distance and the lift follows Norbury. If you've any ideas about events, especially visits, because I think there's a lot of people who are perhaps not really interested in the rallies, but like to go to visits of various places. If you've any interest in anything like that, if you could contact your area rep. The area reps are the link between the membership and the committee. And now I'll explain how that's working later. So, and the last thing to remember is that all events are for all. They're not just for a few. And that's why I'd like to see the social side developed a bit more for those of you who don't have steamboats. Right, we get on now to more the boring bit of it and what's been happening administrative-wise in the SBA. First of all, I'd like to have a word about the committee structure. I'm not sure whether a lot of people actually know how the committee is structured and how it actually works. Your committee worked very hard to ensure that the smooth running of the SBA, but at the moment we are struggling a bit. For those who are not aware, the committee comprises of 4 main officers: the chairman, the honorary secretary, the honorary treasurer, and the honorary membership secretary. These 4 officers are essential for the functioning of the SBA. They are the only 4 that are voted for here at the AGM. Now, at the moment, 3 of these posts are being covered by 1 person, which, if you must agree, it's not satisfactory, not for him or for the smooth running of the SBA, because it means we are 2 committee members down, because each of those posts have a vote, with the chairman, of course, having the casting vote if necessary. And if you've got 1 person doing 3 jobs, which is the secretary, treasurer, and membership secretary, it means there's only 1 person voting, whereas there could have been 3. We're in desperate need of an honorary secretary and an honorary membership secretary. If it is possible that we could continue this year as we have, with 1 person doing the 3, but come 2027, it is not going to be possible to carry on like that. So we really do need an honorary secretary and an honorary membership secretary. And this is going to be vital for next year. If anybody is interested and we need the help and they want to come now, and they can work on, because they can be co-opted on, and I'm sure they can start to look at the job so that they know what is happening, and then that they will be ready to be voted officially next year.
So they should contact you, Dot, is it?
Yeah, contact me on Mark. Anything like that, just contact me on Mark. Right. Besides the committee appointment that are voted here, we have a number of other appointments which are made just by the committee. And these people do not officially have, well, I'll go through what they are first. First is the Safety Information Coordinator. We then have the funnel editor. We then have the events coordinator, which we don't have. And I've been doing the bits of that at the moment. SBA sales, which are Mike and Liz Bell. Social media. Is it Mike Cole still?
He does Facebook side.
Yeah.
And Malcolm and Louise do the WhatsApp.
Yes, right. So we have Facebook, which is Mike Cole, and WhatsApp, which is Malcolm.
Malcolm and Louise over there.
There.
But if anybody else wants to take on administering that, you're welcome. Okay.
And there is somebody else, which is Sandra Brown, who deals with new members. Of these, we do need an events coordinator. We do have a person dealing with trophies, but we need a coordinator now to deal with all the rest. Ensuring that the rallies are advertised on the website, that that new rallies don't clash with other rallies, making sure that events organisers have got the copy of the organisers pack and aware of what they've got to do with risk assessments, all sorts of things connected in that. Now, we do need these people that are listed here are invited to the meetings, but unless they are actually a committee member, they do not have a vote. Now, another thing which has been brought in this last year is that the area reps are now being invited to the meetings. They come on Zoom, although they could come in person if they wanted. They don't have a vote, but they are allowed to say their comments. And in the past few meetings, some of the comments have been extremely valuable. Just to remember that the area reps are sort of the link between you, the membership, and us, the committee. So if you have any suggestions or problems or anything that you think need to be brought to the attention of the committee, then it is your area reps you should go to. And we do have now a full complement of area reps. Just to summarise, we need an honorary secretary, an honorary membership secretary, and events coordinator. And that is getting desperate. So please help us. The committee worked very hard, and we're all volunteers. But we can't do everything. And unless we've got a full complement of the management, so to speak, it's going to begin to affect the running of the SPA. So we do need the help. I know in a way I'm speaking to the converted here, and a lot of you here have done lots of jobs in the past. But if you can think of anybody or persuade anybody that they would be good to do this, then please do so, or let Mike and I know. We'll also be looking for a webmaster, which I will come to later. All right, work of our safety information officer. Ian Bucknell has, as usual, been working hard behind the scenes and, as usual, ensuring the safety of us all. Basically, his role, and I'm sure he will jump up and shout if I've got this wrong, is he does an annual audit of the boat declaration forms. For those of you who are not boats, any boat attending an SB rally, which is purely run by the SBA, requires to do a boat declaration form saying that they have had a valid boiler test and a valid insurance. And these are all handed to the organisers. They're then sent to Ian, who, he doesn't go through them all, although I think he did last time, and make sure that everything is in order for that. He does sort of just audit a selection. And the other thing that he does, he checks that the organisers have a suitable risk assessment done and that it is being implemented. Another thing that he does, he assists with the planning and writing of the risk assessments. All our events, actually, including this one, needs a risk assessment, unless it's something like a Christmas lunch in a pub. You know, that sort of event doesn't need one. But basically, they all do need them. And Ian is always there to help. And if you want, he tends to write. There is a sort of standard format now for the beginning, which every rally has to comply to, and then, or a rally or meeting comply to. And then there is a section to add things which are specific for that actual meeting. He deals with safety issues, which fortunately, as far as I know, we've not had any, have we, Ian? No, which he's pleased about, I'm sure. He keeps documentation on the website up to date, and it keeps us in line with similar organisation. Last year, he did a complete review of our risk assessment, bringing it in line to date, especially regarding environmental issues. This year, he's doing a full update. I think, come on. Yeah. Was it there, was it? Oh, okay. So, oh yeah. Keeping us in line with and is doing a present review of the Rally Organisers Pack to make it, well, more user-friendly for a start and more relevant. The next thing I'd like to talk about is what I consider the elephant in the house. The website. A lot have been going on about the website. Firstly, our provider is still Wild Apricot. Now, Wild Apricot is not the website. It is only a minor little bit of the website. It's the provider which sort of facilitates us to build the website on. And it is all various individuals who have been adding to the website and various documentation being put on it, which is tending to cause it to be quite not as user-friendly as what it should be. Down. Right. From last year, we said there were two things which we said we were going to do with the website. First was to do an overhaul of the system to iron out all the glitches that were on it. Now, basically, this has been done. There is a few little, and a couple of people are still having a little bit of a problem over it, but basically that is now complete. The other thing that we said we were going to address is the contents and appearance. This has been partly addressed. Main reason is that have been done is the front page. It's been tidied up to make it look a bit more presentable, and all the headings have been adjusted so that they're suitable for anybody with any vision impairment. For example, when you put the cursor over the title, the event title, or the heading, it now comes up in yellow with black on it. Some of the headings have been sorted out and adjusted in order and made a bit clearer. But basically, that is all that's done. Now, the reason for this is the committee have had quite a lot of meetings and time spent in the meetings about what to do about the website. Basically, it does need to be completely redone, really, and sorted out. Now, to do that, we had a lot of discussion, and it came to the decision that if we are going to redo the contents of the web page, or redo the contents, it needs somebody to manage it properly, that to be there at the development, and then afterwards to look after it. So basically, what I'm saying is we need a webmaster. Yeah, a webmaster. Thank you. Oh yeah, we need a webmaster. Now, preferably, we would like to keep this in-house. So we are looking for somebody who is prepared to deal with the development of a new website and afterwards run it. But if we can't find anybody in-house, we're going to have to think about going outside, and that is going to cost money. And you know what effect that's going to have. Yeah, because it probably won't be cheap. Preferably, we would want to keep it in-house. If any of you know of anybody who is able and willing to take on such a task, whether they're a member of the SBA or not, then please either contact Mark or myself, and we will see what can be done. But this is something that the committee are going to address this year. It really needs to be addressed, and we get everything.
If somebody does want to take it on, both Roger Calvert, myself, or Mark can teach you use the systems that exist if you can carry on with those.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sharon, can you say that again, please? I didn't catch what you said.
Oh, you didn't catch what I said? Sorry.
All I was saying was, if anybody does want to take it on and needs to learn how the systems work, Roger Calvert, I, or Mark could teach you how to do that. It doesn't require a computer degree. It just requires somebody who's sort of familiar with computers and a bit logically thinking. But principally, it's getting a decision on what you want.
Right. Another thing that's been in the development is the new steamboat register. There's been a lot of progress, considerable progress has been made on this, and I think the light is at the end of the tunnel. I'm making a muck of this. Our register curator, Kevin, will possibly have a bit more to say about this. You do it after the funnel. Yeah, after the funnel. Because I don't know what it's all about. I just use it. But firstly, I would like to say a big thank you to Roger Calvert and Ian Davies for all the work they have done in developing the register so far. Thank you, Roger, and I don't think Ian is here, no. Next thing is promoting the steamboat to the wider public. This is something which is gradually developing over the years. At present, we have 2 sets of display material. One set where we can have a complete stand, such as the top 2 pictures. The one on the left was up at Loch Katrine, and the one on the right was at Windermere Jetty Festival of the Lake. We've got, if anybody has anywhere where they could do a display like this, then please let me know. We've got a full range of material which is available for that. And the other one is a set of equipment where a stand is not possible, such as at rallies, and which is actually out on the fence outside there today. It's basically just a banner and a waterproof box in which to put leaflets. As previously, we have 4 outlets in the Northwest where we have a presence this year, but I'd like to see other venues about there. So far, we don't have Scotland. Oh, the other one we have had is Floodborough. This year, we will have Floodborough. We'll have Windermere Jetty Festival of the Lake. We are going to have a presence here on Easter Sunday at the Easter event here. And the other place we will be is at Barrow Harbour Festival. Now, as you can guess, they're all north. We could do with some events in the south part of the country or the eastern part of the country. So again, if you think there's somewhere, all the information, all the promotional literature is available for everyone. Right. Now, promoting steamboat to the younger end. Right, a major step forward this year is that we're trying to encourage younger people to become part of the steamboat community, the younger age group. We've now made a connection with the National Traction Engine Trust, their Steam Apprentice Club. This provides and arranges experience days for 5 to 18-year-olds. And so far, they've done it with traction engines, they've done it with steam trains, and now we're hoping to do it with steamboats for them. So in conjunction with the SBA, we're to provide a steamboat experience day on Monday, the 27th. Is it the 27th? Kevin, is it the 27th or the 17th? 17th, yeah. I suddenly thought. Yeah, 17th. Sorry about that, it's me. It's on the 17th of July, and it's the day after the Bristol Harbour Festival. This will be a full day event with both water-based and land-based activities, and will be run fully within the guidelines of the Steamboat Apprentice Club. They have a whole lot of things which they sort of say they want doing with them. Obviously, we won't be doing 5-year-olds. We have set a lower age limit of 10 to put, and it will be about 20, open to about 20 people. An article has gone into the magazine about steamboating in general, which was written by one of our, Trevor Barraclough, and that went out in the, Jim, was it spring event? Is Jim in? No. Jim Huntley.
Oh, he must be outside.
Oh, he's not in, right. Yeah. Jim does that magazine, so it went into him. And the event is being advertised alongside all their other events. They will get the members, get the people who are interested, and will let us have a list of all those who are interested. They sift through them so that there's not always the same person being on everything. And finally, I'd like to remind you that the wristband you are wearing allows you free entrance to the museum, both today and tomorrow. And I'd like to thank you for your attention. Has anybody any questions they would like to ask? Has anybody any questions they would like to ask? No, right. I will now hand over to Mark for the membership report. Yeah. Yes, membership report. Both the membership report and the financial report. Do you want me to move these?
You may.
Yeah.
I'll take yours if you want. Okay, good afternoon once again. You can all hear me, yeah? Okay. Right, membership of the secretary, membership of the SBA really does matter. And I thank you for maintaining your membership. Since Roger Powell stepped down at last year's AGM, we've not had a membership secretary. It had been hoped that Mike Cole would resume the role. Unfortunately, he too has left the committee, hence I'm speaking. For the past year, I've been overseeing the role, and I've been doing my best. We find ourselves light for volunteers in the committee and elsewhere within the association, and I've now reached the point of saturation. I've been involved in treasurer, secretary, website, IT, store, and membership matters. Anyhow, next I shall give you a picture of where our membership currently stands. And this will change later this month or after this month, because members who haven't renewed their subscriptions by the end of March, they will be lapsed, and this happens every year. These are our membership categories. Basically, £36 for UK, £44 for worldwide members receiving printed funnel, and £18 for members not receiving this via the post. For the avoidance of doubt, I've not included special categories such as honorary. Here we have the total numbers as of today. You will see that we have a total of 604 full members, which include honorary, and full members possess voting rights. And there is an anomaly here, in that the spouse and defined children are also members and have voting rights. So in reality, we have many, many more than the headline 604. We now have a total of 48 E members, and this class of membership was introduced in January 2025, so just over a year ago, and it is 8% of our total. So, in summary, we have 604 members, split 469, which is 78% UK based. UK based, and 135, which is or 12% worldwide. And I'm happy to report that we've recently welcomed a junior member. And also we have a gentleman who resides in Northern Ireland, and I'm not sure whether he's the only one from that country. In the last 12 months, we've welcomed 30 new members, including 7 UK E members and 5 E worldwide. So, analysing the 30, we have 22 new UK, or 73% of those new members, and 8 worldwide, 27%. And also in round numbers, 30% of new UK members are E, and 60% for worldwide. That doesn't add up to 100 though. I've not yet analysed the reduction in membership numbers. This occurs upon resignation, lapsing, not renewing membership subscriptions, and of course death. And almost finally, I set out at the beginning, membership matters. The association, like many others, relies on volunteers to remain viable. For this year, I reluctantly remain willing to continue juggling lots of responsibilities. However, if proposed from the next AGM, I will only be prepared to undertake the role of treasurer. Finally, some thanks. Sandra Brown, she sends out the new members' welcome packs. The rest of the committee who listened to me droning on, I thank you, and you also, the membership. But there's one special member who is always available to me for support. IT, website, you name it. He's here once again, running the technical side. He arranged all of these slides, refuses to claim expenses for travelling, and he set up the systems here today, etc., etc. I doubt anyone here realises the magnitude of behind-the-scenes effort and support he gives to the SBA. Oh, and he also gifted his and Louise's wonderful boat. And I'm very, very grateful to Malcolm. Would anybody like to ask any questions? Okay, thank you. Sorry, there's one from John Wynn. Now, perhaps we'll give him roaming microphone. You need it for Zoom.
Well, press the button so it's okay.
questions?
1, 2. Does work. There you go.
All right, John made me cry, so I had to blow my nose and dry my eyes. Sorry about that. Normal service will be resumed. Okay, agenda item number 7. Let me just have a sip. Well, things didn't quite go to plan when finalising this year's accounts, but here's a fact. That sketch was first broadcast in 1971, the inaugural year of the SBA. Our financial year runs from 1st of January until the 31st of December. So in January, I would expect to work in earnest on last year's accounts. However, I got totally bogged down in dealing with an error in the membership side of things, and that prevented me from focusing on the numbers. Oh, anyhow, sorry about that. When I did get to the accounts, I discovered that I'd made an omission last year, and I couldn't get the books to converge. I'm not an accountant or bookkeeper, and I've never claimed to be an economist for the Bank of England on my CV. Hold on. Yeah, thanks. So I collect, pay and bank monies and keep records of everything. I'm pleased to say that all the invoices continue to be paid and the association's finances are in rude health. Next, I will present some numbers, but stop short of giving the final balance sheet. Last year there were more slides, quite confusing really. So I'll try just to summarise. It keeps moving along. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, my screen is jumping around. It all got a bit confusing last year, I think, with the presentation. So I'll try to summarise a bit more this year. 4 events went through our books, 3 of which were in surplus, 1 in loss, and we made an aggregated surplus of £162. So you see that at the bottom. Here I've isolated the AGMs in finances. Last year I grouped them in with events, and that's not really the right thing to do. Last year's AGM finances included Doc's Friday night meal, and you paid for the buffet. So these monies went through the accounts. All of those monies went through our accounts, and we show here at the bottom a cost to the SBA of £830. And here we go again. In compiling this slide, I made an error of £99. Because if you add all of those items up, they don't come to what's at the bottom. But these slides are illustrative, and I didn't get time to refine this slide. Anyway, the bottom figure is supposed to be the addition of this slide plus the 2 previous. Of note, we received just over £2,000 in bank interest, and we handled an SBAS order through our PayPal account. The SBAS received the net of this amount after the PayPal fees, so it didn't cost the SBA anything. On to the expenditures. Here we start adding the outgoings. The printing and postage of the funnel is by far the biggest outgoing. Of note, we purchased a specialist camera, the meeting owl, for our committee meetings, and this cost £957. More expenditure items here. We took a single year's website subscription last November, and banking fees are what it costs for the direct debit and PayPal processing. And additionally, Lloyds Bank, they previously were free of charge, now commence charging. In 2025, we paid corporation tax on the interest we had received during the year of 2024. So all our expenditure added up to £20,740. Here we start adding up the outgoings. The printing and postage of the funnel is by far the biggest outgoing. Hold on, that's the wrong slide. Sorry, excuse me. I want to go back. I'm waiting for my screens to catch up. I think this is probably the correct slide. Yeah. Yes, this should be the correct one, expenditures. Here we start adding the outgoings. The printing and postage of funnel is by far the biggest outgoing. Of note, we purchased a specialised camera, the meeting owl, which I just mentioned, for the committee meetings, and that cost £957. Oh, I've gone. It's all right. I noticed I was going in the wrong direction. Right, so I've been pressing the up button instead of the down button. That's what's been going wrong. Expenditures continued, slide one, or number one. More expenditure items here. We took a single year's website subscription last November. That's Wild Apricot. Banking fees are what it costs for the direct debit and PayPal processing, which I just mentioned. I'm not sure if I was on the right slide, so I'll go through this slide again. And additionally, Lloyds Bank charged us commence charging. So that all adds up to 20,740. Press the correct button this time. Right. Okay, so surplus. Going by the figures on these slides, our income minus expenditure gave us a surplus of £5,321. The final balance sheet did not converge, but on the 31st of December 2025, I calculate that we had assets of £36,504 made up of, and there's a typo, but the current assets plus debtors and prepayments summate to £36,504, not 540. This slide speaks for itself. Money we have in advance of an event. Another slide which should speak to for itself. And at this point, I would bring everything together, but all the figures together. But as I've said, there was an error, or there is an error in my accounting, which leads to non-convergence. Perhaps as a marker as to where our finances lie is in the cash balance at year end for the past 3 years. Of note, if you look at 2023, 22,273 in the bank, we had taken a 2-year website subscription, and that depleted the year-end cash by £2,000. And in 2025, we purchased the meeting now camera and for the store, 20 Burgees, and the camera and the Burgees combined cost of £2,000, and therefore that also depleted the year end 2025. That is correct. It would have been 35,000 in the bank. Well, this is actually how I, and as did Nigel, and I should dare expect Chris, do actually go about compiling the accounts. Honestly, and the books are just behind there. If you want to see them, you're welcome. Now we do have a scrutineer. That's Nigel Thompson, but because the books don't balance, his scrutiny is limited for obvious reasons. And because of this, I'm suggesting that the accounts are not in a state whereby they can be formally adopted today. Now, if anybody wants to propose them for adoption, then you're welcome.
Just for our understanding, what level of discrepancy are you describing? Is it a few £100, £20,000?
It depends where you put the figures, because it will jump with whichever side you appoint. But I think it comes. It's certainly less than £1,000. It's not of high magnitude in the overall scheme of things, and it is just where the numbers are placed within on a piece of paper, and I'm putting them in the wrong position, and that's what's giving the error. So my available time and accounting experience is proving to be of concern to me, and therefore I'm not going to propose a scrutineer for this year, and I would prefer the books to be reviewed by a professional as I have in the past. If any member would like to propose a scrutineer, then also you are welcome. If we do appoint a scrutineer or adopt the accounts, then if we do not appoint a scrutineer or adopt the accounts, then this will amount to a deviation from the Constitution.
We don't want to deviate, do we, from the Constitution? But are we saying that you're in a cleft stick at the moment, and the best way forward would be to give you permission from this meeting to have the accounts professionally reviewed, for which we are prepared to pay, and that would get you out of the cleft stick? Is that a proposition I can make?
Thank you, Mark. Yes, that would align with what I would propose. What I would have said was, if we were to not do those two things, then we would come to an agreement with the committee during the forthcoming year. But yours is more concise.
I propose to the meeting, if we haven't got a seconder yet, but if somebody wants to second it. Okay, it's being seconded by our chair behind us, and the proposal is that Mark hands over the accounts to a professional for whom we are prepared to pay, so that things can be clarified for the meeting as a whole, for the association as a whole. Does that make sense?
So can I ask the floor, please, ladies and gentlemen? All those, please put up your hands. Thank you very much. Yes. Can I totally agree with you, Jane. Thank you. Just formally, can I just ask if there's anybody against or anybody abstaining? The motion. Thank you.
Thank you. And I've got just a couple more slides. That was a nice little digression, wasn't it? It's done me a favour. Thank you, Mark. Yeah. Oh, no, hang on. That's the one. That's the one. So, getting back to my first slide, when Eric Morecambe and Andre Previn, or should I say Mr. Preview, Eric Morecambe had him by the throat, exclaiming, "I'm playing all the right notes, but not necessarily in the right order." And here my thoughts are that I have all the right numbers, but not necessarily in the right orders. And as I mentioned earlier, I do have the books today. If anybody would like to examine them or look at them, then I'll happy to be sharing those with you. Finally, my gratitude goes to my wife, Jo, Nigel Thompson, and the SPAS Treasurer, Malcolm Duckett, for all of your helps, support and liaisons during the past year. Are there any questions? No. Thank you very much. And I will hand over to Dot. Thank you. Oh no, sorry, I just moved. Sorry, if you hold on, if you.
Right, the next, well, that's better. The next is the election of the officers, which is slow. The officers to be elected are chairman, honorary secretary, honorary treasurer, honorary membership secretary, and the committee members. The first election is that of the chair. So, Mark, can I call upon you?
Thank you very much. Yes, this is all a bit of a process. I'm sorry again you're seeing so much of me. I'm the most junior of the vice presidents, but because I happen to be the vice president that was present, I'm also wearing a tie. I was asked to do this. And I want to say one or two things just quickly before we move on. I think that our president would want to say these. The first is that we do need a new president. And we have in the past had noble lords, but we would also like a noble lady if there was one. But they don't have to be ennobled in any way. They just need to be somebody, and think about this carefully, because you might have a contact, an entree to somebody who possibly has an interest in maritime things or in industrial archaeology. Our previous president was probably the world's most significant industrial archaeologist. And also we would be very interested in somebody who is a real sort of leader in the world of steam. There are such people around. Somebody actually also suggested somebody like Guy Martin. We're not as fast moving as he is, but I mean, somebody who could actually speak for us. What we're looking for is somebody who can lobby for us, as indeed Michael Forsyth has on the issue of coal and fuel. He's actually said some very significant things in the House of Lords, which have been published and so on. And when he puts down his responsibility in the Lords, he of course could easily come back as president, which would be wonderful because he's very much with us as a member. So, and an asset to us. So there we go. And you have heard from Dot and you've heard from Mark that we really do need some people to do some volunteering. Now, I'm not a school teacher. I was never that horrible. Oh, sorry, Dot. But what I think we do need is to have a look around us and I want to challenge you, actually. I think this is the best way to do it, to say, is there anybody here who would feel that the accountancy side of things, which as you can see is not complex, we're not dealing with vast amounts of money, but we do need somebody who's on the ball. And Mark has done a brilliant job in holding everything together. And I'm very grateful for the words that John Wynne said earlier. To congratulate you, Mark. Thank you again. So is there anybody here who might seriously consider being our treasurer? So I'm challenging you directly. So we've got the secretary, but also that we also need a secretary most of all. But of course, either would help, wouldn't we? If we've got either. Okay, righty-ho. If you're okay to carry on with treasurer, then it's the secretary. It's the secretary thing which has screwed things up, isn't it, for you? Because it's too much pressure. Okay. So if there's anybody here who reckons they could do that secretary role, then let's see if anybody comes forward. Do be challenged on this thing. I know very well from my various contacts that there is a huge issue at the moment with finding people to volunteer for anything. They just don't come forward and they expect everybody else to do it. But anyway, see what you can do and think about it yourself. So I'm going to shut my mouth there and move on to the election of officers. We do know that Dot is our chair. Dot, I think you've got another year to go. Is that correct? And you are eligible and you are willing to continue if re-elected. Okay, you've been nominated by Mark Leedham. The seconder was Richard Havard, one of my fellow VPs. Now, any other nominations for the role of chair should have been made to the On Secretary and received at least 7 days prior to the AGM. So we're going to take a vote on our chair. It is proposed, as you've heard, by Mark, seconded by Richard, that Dot continues to the end of her period of chairmanship, which she is willing to do, and for which we thank you, Dot. So can I have a show of hands, please, on that proposal? That is carried. Anybody against? Nobody against, so it's carried by the House. Tough luck there, tough luck. There we go. The next item is the elections of officers. On treasurer, Mark Leedham is eligible and willing to continue, and he's, as we do. Sorry? I can hand back to you. I can hand back to you. Jolly good. So I'm now off duty, am I? Good. Can I take my tie off? Thank you.
All right. Mark Leedham is eligible. This is for the honorary secretary's job. Mark is eligible and treasurer. Yeah. Oh. Right, treasurer. Yeah. Mark is eligible and willing again to stand as treasurer, and he'd be prepared to also be appointed honorary secretary if there is nobody else. And there isn't, is there? No. Mark, he is prepared to be appointed. Oh, I'll start again. Mark is eligible and willing to stand again as treasurer and prepared to be appointed honorary secretary for another year. But as it's been said, he will definitely be stepping down as secretary next year. I'm going on to the next bit. You'll find. Yes. Mike Cole has agreed to be membership secretary. No. Mike Cole has left the committee. No, had agreed. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Can't read. Mike Cole had agreed to be membership secretary and work alongside Mark Leedham for the year. However, unfortunately, Mike has had to step down. Again, Mark is prepared to carry on as acting membership secretary for one more year, but not after that. So it makes out that the post is vacant. what's happened to these. Yeah. Yeah. Mm.
Can I be clear? Sorry, Chairman, I should stand up. Can I be clear? What are we asking Mark to do? All three.
We got.
Sorry, I'll just I'll answer that. I'm standing as treasurer, secretary, and not the membership secretary, but I will carry that role as I have done for the past 12 months. So I will be voted as honorary treasurer and honorary secretary, but make the membership secretary thing work, and we will carry the vacancy on.
Right. Thanks. Right. Thanks for clearing that. Right. So, as Mark is for the post of honorary treasurer and honorary secretary, and there's no other persons interested, then I suggest we just do one vote for the both of them. Can I have all those proposer, please? John Griffith. A seconder? Kevin Slater. All right. All those for? Any against? Any abstentions? Right. One abstention. Yeah. Mark, you've been pointed in. And so we don't have to vote for membership secretary.
There has been no nomination, so we can't vote.
Yeah. The next is the election of the committee. Richard Cox stepped down as both Richard Cox and Mike Cole have stepped down. Richard Cox has stepped down as at the moment he's unable to fill the position. However, he's hoping to retire this coming year, and once that has happened, he will be more than happy to be considered for re-election. It was thought there was no point in him carrying on. If he steps down now, when he's re-elected, he'll be able to do the full 5-year term. He's just found that it was not possible to carry on doing it. And Mike Cole has also stepped down. Kevin Slater, Helen Steeple, John Emmett and Trevor Barakoff are eligible and willing to continue if re-elected. Yeah. New nominations, we have Bert Kine-Besink is standing for election. He has been nominated by Kevin, seconded by Mark Riddell.
Do you want to stand up so everybody can see you?
Oh, I was going to that in a minute. Yeah. Brian Boucher is standing for election. He has been proposed by Helen Steeple and seconded by Dot Buller. And Matt Jodrell has been proposed by myself and seconded by Mark Leadham. I'm now going to ask those various gentlemen to stand up and...
Tell us how to pronounce your name.
I think I've got it. Right, Bert. We're
Correct pronunciation is Klein-Bussink.
Klein-Bussink. Brian Bussink.
Just for those of you who my name is Klein-Bussink. It's probably Dutch name. So,
Small bushing.
but yeah, that's it.
There you go.
Well, I am actually half British, so I'm still sort of eligible in this venerable committee.
Have you not got a little thing to say about yourself?
Yeah, I could do. Yeah, if you want to. All right, just to expand on that a little bit, like Mark said, I'm the first non-British member to be voted into the committee, which I'm quite proud of. I came to STEAM from a very, very early age because my grandfather was a skipper of a big steam tug in Falmouth. And I was introduced to steam from an age of 4 or 5 onwards. Real steam, not hobby steam, but it was, and the boat was called Sonora, and it was had a 1,000 horsepower turbo expansion. So I was introduced to steam at a very, very early age, and from an early age onwards, I decided that was going to be my career, and I made my career out of it. I became a marine engineer, and I went to sea for 9 years, and consequently became engineer and then chief engineer on several oil platforms and gas installations. And I've recently retired, so I might have a bit more time for this institution.
Thank you, Bert. Thank you, Bert. Brian, if you could stand up. I have been reminded that time is passing and there is still quite a bit more to do. So, yeah, lunch.
Brian, you have to shout. You're too far away from the transmitter for it to pick you up.
I had a long connection with steam technology. Too far from with the Wonder Lead. Yeah. Okay. Back on space now.
No.
I've had a steamroller for 35 years. In fact,
Brian, it won't go on to Zoom.
Ah, right. Can you hear me now? Yeah, I've had a steamroller for 35 years and been involved in stationary steam engines for longer than that. I even took my first steps in employment at a training school next to one of the last steam winding engines in Nottinghamshire. More recently, I've aimed to stretch my steam interest in a boat direction. I'm getting there, but not quite afloat yet. And I found that this SBA provides an excellent resource of documentation and experience and good contacts. And I've also been the Midlands rep for just over a year and instituted some Zoom meetings. So as a committee member, I hope to help provide the support that the SBA has given to me.
Matt?
That's good, Matt.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Matt. You probably already know, but I own a steamroller called, and I own steam narrowboat Tixel. I'm hoping what I can bring to the steam station is to bring younger members in. I'm currently taking tonight. Actually, we're currently in steam. Tixel's in steam as we speak. Right after this meeting, we're going to collect a historic butty. And we're hoping to do school visits with it on tow behind Tixel. We're also in discussions with certain colleges in Cheshire and doing engineering.
Just keep going.
All right. So yeah, we're hoping to encourage young people to get into STEAM, and unless you actually see plant in full steam, I don't think people understand the.
So yeah, that's what I'm hoping to bring to the Steamboat
Association. We'll now take a vote on these posts. As Helen, I've lost it, yeah. as Helen, Kevin, John and Trevor are for re-election, we'll do it as one. Can I have a proposer for all 4 of them, please? Ian Bucknell, seconder. Right. All right. Yeah, Paul Self was doing as well. Yeah. 4. All right. Against? Abstention? So no, 4 passed. I was going to do all the 3 new members separately, but as they are, we've had the various proposers. You've got the proposers for them. As the time is getting short, we'll do it as one vote, unless anybody has any objections to that. No. 4. Against? Abstain? Right, unanimous. Thank you. And this concludes the election of the officers. Come on, change.
All those of you watching movies on your phone, you're slowing down.
The nomination, or any other nomination should have been made to the Honorary Secretary and received 7 days prior to the AGM. There's still room for further committee people. If anybody's interested, either me or Mark, as usual, and committee members can be co-opted on at any time. We're desperately in need of, as we keep saying, an honorary secretary and a membership secretary. Change.
And a webmaster, you said as well.
Oh yeah, and a webmaster, which I have said before. Right, I'll pass on to Kevin now for the funnel report.
Thank you, Dot, and thank you to there's 4 buttons. Which one's the down button? Yeah. Okay. In view of the time, I hadn't got a lot to say anyway. Yes, we've managed to push out 4 more copies of the funnel this year, and I'm very pleased from the statistics that Mark offered earlier on that less than 10% of our membership have opted to go for the e-membership. So I think we can all rest assured that the printed copy is going to remain in production for the foreseeable future. And really, as far as the funnel are concerned, all I have to say is a big thank you to all of you, particularly those of you that have contributed to articles and even just writing a letter, something you're doing. Please just write a letter, share it with the other membership, and hopefully this will start a chain of communication. And again, subject matter, as long as it's got a steamy connection, just let me have it. If it's rubbish, I'll bin it. And as I said, the editing part of it, I find relatively easy. It's the getting everything in to edit. So the punctuation, the spelling, the grammar, I've got Gilly to look after that. So, and so there's the contact information. It's in the funnel. It's in the front cover. I think most of you all here, and I'm looking around this room, and I'm really, really happy to say that almost everybody in this room, I know your name and I've known you for a few years, and that gives me a really warm and fuzzy feeling inside. So that's all I have to say as far as the funnel is concerned. Dot has asked me to, unexpectedly, say a few words about the funnel, sorry, about the register. And here I must really defer to Ian well, a little bit of history. The funnel register, why do I keep saying funnel? Because I am the funnel editor. The register that we're running at the moment that is live is very old and very clunky. It was written with custom software by somebody who's no longer a member of the SBA, and it's becoming very, very, very difficult to support it. A thing called PHP, which is a computer jargon that it lives on, keeps changing, keeps evolving, as most of the computer world does, and we're struggling to keep the register working with the newer versions of PHP. So Ian Davis, who is the son of so he has offered to build a new register with some proprietary software that should be a lot easier to maintain going forward. And with a lot of help from Roger Calvert, they have got, and it is available from their website if you dig a little bit deeper. We've got a new register being put together. And there are some teething troubles, and obviously things have to evolve, but it's looking very promising at the moment. As we've already mentioned earlier, our existence on the Wild Apricot platform is, shall we say, under question, and we are exploring other possibilities, and one of the other possibilities would include the register being part of what is now run by Wild Apricot. So watch this space is the best I can say. Dot's made a good advert for the traction engine event that's taking place after Bristol this year. That's really for members of the Traction Engine Society, so the Traction Engine Trust, so not really relevant to people here today. I am now going to do an advert for the steamboating school, which is running on the day before the Bristol event. So if there's anybody in this room who doesn't know how a steam engine works or how to safely operate a steamboat, hands up. All right. Please enroll. I'm thinking now in terms of offspring, nephews, nieces, grandchildren who would benefit from some steamboating education. Please sign up and come along to Bristol on the Thursday before the Bristol event. And unless there are any questions, that's all I've got to say. Thank you very much.
My apologies to Kevin and to those who run Keeping Your Feet Dry. It was in my bit at the beginning, but I did miss it out, unfortunately. To mention that Keeping Your Feet Dry is now into its 5th year, which is the training scheme on Windermere, and that Kevin is now introducing the equivalent is the steam school at Bristol. I forgot to mention that. And am I not right? Is the new steamboat register, it's on the website, isn't it? Yeah, and that. Okay, can I ask now for, is it Malcolm, Malcolm, to come and do Steamboat Association Services report?
Time is short. It always is by the time we get here. It's always late by the time it gets to me. I'm not going to make you look at me because you know how ugly I am. I'm going to take you through a report that gives you the numbers and some comments for this year as quickly as I can, and then you get lunch. So I'm Malcolm Duckett. I'm Company Secretary and Treasurer. Topics for today are really a reminder of what SBA Services Limited is. We always call it SBAS, but its real name is SBA Services Limited. What it is and what it isn't. To explain some changes in 26, to outline the services we offer, to provide a report on our operations for last year, and to give you a chance to ask questions. But being as our sandwiches will be around the corner by then, you won't. So first, some background. SBA Services Limited is not the SBA, nor is it part of the SBA, nor is it owned by the SBA, nor is it managed by the SBA. The SBA asked for it to be set up 32 years ago, and it's a listed, registered company. It's formed as a limited company without shares. In today's life, you'd probably form it as a community enterprise, but at the time, such things didn't exist. It's not for profit. It has no shareholders. It's composed of company directors who appoint company members, and they're the people who run it. Nobody's paid for either of those roles. I have never seen any expenses claimed by anybody for running it other than the inspectors themselves who go out and do your boats. And I think Bill Hall said the same was true for the many years he did it beforehand. So there's no money to be made out of it. It was set up that way to make sure that you, the members, couldn't become liable if anything bad happened and people died. That's why it's separate, and it has to be that way. Its principal role is to do boiler inspections. You know about that. We maintain a pool of independent boiler inspectors. They do your inspections for you. And I just moved the mouse. Let me just put that back there. Right. We also offer other services like which help offset our operating costs, which is nearly all insurance. And so this activity, these other services, are really just there to reduce the cost of your inspections. We have to have insurance in three categories: public and professional liability, to stop you being responsible when we blow things up. Employers' liability. We don't have employees, but the government says we're a company, so we must have employers' liability. And management liability, to protect the directors. And that's pretty limited protection. If we do anything wrong, then the insurance wouldn't cover us. So it's one of those sort of useless insurances that we just have to pay for. The company has been managed by a management team, and they were Nigel Thompson, company chairman and director. Do I need to make you stand up, Nigel? There you go. Demonstrate working legs. Chris Davis, who does all the real work, which is administering the scheme and organising all the inspectors. John Maltby, who runs the library and the patterns and all that stuff. Is John here? No, he's wandered off. Ian Coop, famous man, ex-chief engineer at Waverley, and inspected the boilers on Tornado, I think, Ian, down the back. Chris Drake, who couldn't make it today, sadly, and me. The other members of the company are also defined in our Mem and Arts, and those are the principal SBA officers. But we needed to find some new blood, and you got a pleading letter from me in December. And it's sort of a theme here, isn't there? But in this case, because of some brilliant marketing, a whole bunch of people showed up. And these people came forwards, and they are in alphabetical order. Trevor Barraclough, who would have been here, but his mother's been taken into hospital, so he sent me an apology at 3:30 this morning. Phil Jones at the front. He'll stand up and turn around and wave at you. There you go. He put up a Facebook post saying he was Mark, not SBA Treasurer, SBA Services Limited Treasurer. Alistair Scott. Is Alistair here? He is. So from a long line of powerful steamboaters. And Ed Stinton, who's an airline pilot. Ed can't come here today because he's flying somewhere. During the coming year, we're going to hand over various roles to these people. So Trevor is going to take on scheme administrator with Ed shadowing him. Is that right, Chris? Phil has volunteered, useful word, to be treasurer. Alistair Scott has volunteered to be company secretary, and I've got a car full of paperwork for him. The management team, me in particular, are very appreciative for these people volunteering. And I've mentioned it before, we really should pass a vote of thanks back to Bill Hall, because he's had every role in the SBA, and he ran every role in the SBS for many years, and he retired this year. So round of applause to Bill, I think. So to be quickly through this, we offer 5 sorts of services. We have services related to the design of boilers. We have services related to the manufacture of boilers. We have services related to the operation of boilers. And we maintain a library of boiler designs, engine designs, hull designs. And from that library of patterns, we can provide castings for engines and boats. If we talk about the design services first, then they're dangerous things. You can blow yourself up. Therefore, they need to be built to an approved design. In order for the boiler to be inspected by us, or actually anybody else, it needs to have been built to an approved design, which a professional design engineer has certified and stated is appropriate for its use. Our boiler pressure system design assessment service provides this assurance. It's very rarely used because it's only for brand new boiler designs. So if you, in a fit of madness, decide to design your own boiler, you can bring it to us and we will, with some money from you probably or elsewhere, arrange for somebody to come and certify it. And then it will be a design that other people can build. The library contains 15 types of boilers already. Some of those are weldless ones, so you don't have to be a certified welder. You can build them at home. Chris Davis, Nigel Thompson, and I have all built boilers to these designs, and they work very well. When it comes to manufacturing, so somebody is building the boiler, either you or a professional company, you need to know that it's been built to that design. It's been built out of the right materials. It's been, manufacturers use suitable techniques, so right sort of welding sticks, that sort of stuff. And our construction surveillance service, which is the second service we offer, provides that assurance. So if you're having a boiler built or building it yourself, you would use that service to get some confidence the boiler was properly built. Sorry, too many clicking. The service is, the important thing to notice is it's not quality control. It's just quality assurance. We'll check the records. The manufacturer has to do the quality control bit. Just a reminder here, as retiring treasurer, if you build a boiler to one of SBA Services Limited designs, then you must purchase a set of drawings for each boiler that you make. If you look on the website, you'll see it's our terms and conditions. The purchase of the drawings provides you a license to make one boiler to that design. The income from those licenses is another bit of the monies that help keep your inspection costs down. If you've had a boiler made, please check that this license fee has been paid and you've got the receipts and drawings which would be needed for inspections maybe. Just make sure you got the stuff. Neither I nor Bill Hall seem to have received any money for that for quite a long time, other than the odd £5. So do a check. Operation service is much easier. Annual boiler test certificates. You'll need one if you're going to an SBA event. Our periodic boiler inspection service does that. You don't have to use us, but we think we're one of the more affordable ways of getting it done. The service is defined in the boiler inspection scheme booklet, 20 odd pages that you can read off the website. It explains how to book one, what you have to do, because you have to do some stuff, and what the test will involve. Remember, this service is not only available to SBA members, and it's not only for boats. So if you've got high pressure kettle or a traction engine or a car, those kind of things, then we could probably do those for you as well. And we do some of those things, not the kettles. The SBAS doesn't do the testing because we're not a competent person from the point of view of the legal processes. Anybody who's seen me in the workshop would know that. That's why we use the external inspectors. We just administer the service. We're kind of like booking.com. We take your booking, bill you, and provide the certificates. Somebody else provides the accommodation and the testing. We maintain a list for that purpose. We assign the jobs to them. They'll come and do the inspection. That means that their word is final. We're not in the middle of that. We're not technical folk. You pay an admin fee, which is designed to cover our insurance costs and everything else. We just divide our costs by the number of tests, and then that's the admin fee. A mileage fee to get the inspector to you, and his hourly fee. Be ready. If you sit there saying, oh, I just got to get the ash out, I just need to get the soot off, I just want to tell you about my friend's next door's planning application, that's okay, but you will be paying for it by the hour. One note, you probably know this, if you're thinking of buying an existing boiler, whether that's freestanding or remote, if you can't provide documentation of the design, adequate construction, materials, proof of hydraulic and periodic checks, you're probably buying scrap. That's about £70 a tonne at the moment. So if you're paying more than that, you're probably being overcharged. If it's a boiler we know, if it's a boiler we've tested before, if we've got records for it, then we might be able to do it. But check before you buy. Library services. So Mr. Maltby runs the library, 15 designs of boiler, fire tube ones, water tube ones, locomotive ones, Cochrane ones. Never seen one built, but they are interesting things. We've got hull designs, all of those from Glyn Lancaster Jones estate were donated to us, so paddle steamers and a variety of other things, and they're all very fine. We also hold drawings and patterns for lots of stuff like machineries, fittings, single and twin engines, drawings for the T2. We can't sell the castings for that as a commercial item. 26 patterns for 26 patterns that we can turn into castings for those Maltby and Fillmore engines. 48 patterns for things like gauge glasses and stern glands and all those sort of things. Well, a list there. And we'll supply those either in iron or bronze to any of the patterns, all documented on the website. John's next door showing some off. The vertical pump that is now owned by Bert Small Bushing, whatever it is, that was built to some of our castings as well. Our year end, right, the money bit. So the year end is to the 31st of January. So we've done final accounts. They're about to be off to our accountant for final checking and submission to Companies House and HMRC, but these are right, I think. The important thing to note is we did 46 boiler inspections. We did 59 in 2024. We did 62 in 2023. We did 81 in 2022. Are you all giving up or something? The average cost of the inspection last year was £221, up from £214 the year before. That's because we did some things to reduce our insurance costs, so it didn't go up as fast as the number of inspections went down. We made 7 sales from the library, which was a huge improvement on the previous year where we'd only sold 1. So we actually, John, managed to make us £1,000, which went towards reducing your inspection costs. The sad thing is, I think we sold 1 set of drawings to the UK. All the others went to America, Spain, Germany, Switzerland. Have you lost the ability to do engineering? We've got 26 inspectors on the books. That's more than last year. We finished the year with £5,470 in the bank. So those of you who thought we were going bust, you're wrong. We made an operating profit of £826 if you do it as cash accounting. You know, the sort where you count the pennies in your hand. But if you're the HMRC, then you do what they call traditional accounting. And according to that, we made £60 on the year. And from my perspective, that's pretty damn good when you're trying to run a company as a not-for-profit. So you can see all our accounts via Companies House. We're a public company. That's all there. So looking forward, we're trading positively. We remain solvent. We succeed in managing our not-for-profit goal. Helpfully this year, you, the members via the committee, provided the SBAS a loan of £1,500 back in 2021 when COVID hit and nobody was doing testing, and they agreed to write that off this year. So thank you very much for that. Remember, the more tests we do, the lower costs we have to charge, and given the continuing reduction in inspections, we might have to raise the administrative charge for the coming year. We haven't done that yet. Book your test now and you might get it at the old price. We're making efforts to find additional inspection work, working with the traction engines, stationary engines, cars, logos, all that thing, so we can get more inspections done and hold down your costs. There's a theme here. Do you get that? You can save money also by organising group tests. It means the inspector only has to go to one place to test a bunch of boats, so you save on mileage. Being ready for your test, so he's not standing around while you clean it or empty it or take the cladding off. Have your boiler log available. And on a totally different note, we also put together a scheme to allow temporary certificates for international people visiting SBA events. We did all the paperwork. Nobody ever applied, but it's there if you want to. Remember, your boiler inspector is your friend. He's doing all he can to ensure the safety of you and your friends. Talk to him before you arrange the test. Talk to him if you're changing or repairing anything in the steam circuit. He will know a great deal about marine steam, more than the average boiler inspector would. And he'll probably be able to advise you on almost anything. With that, if you've got questions before you eat, now's the time. I was right.
Food is being served. A slightly different system today. There'll be a lady behind the counter assisting you with serving if you need, and it's be a one-way system, so you can't just charge in at various angles. Yes. So I now close the meeting at 1:09. Hope you enjoyed your lunch, and I'd like to introduce our speaker for this afternoon, who's from the SS Great Britain, and it's Ian Caskey. Over to you, Ian.
Thank you very much. Right, good afternoon. Big thank you to particularly to Kevin for inviting me along here as a last minute replacement. I said to him earlier I should have turned up with a number 12 on my back, but anyway, I do hope you enjoy the talk that I've got prepared for you. It's about a vessel that's slightly bigger than the ones that I know some of you own, but it still qualifies because of course she was initially powered by steam, so we get away with it that way. But anyway, as you can see, my name's Ian Caskey. I was actually born and bred not far from here, up on the Wirral in the Tip at New Brighton, and my dad was a shipping manager in the Liver building. So I spent my childhood in the 60s, 70s watching the ships come and go on the Mersey. And that love of ships has stayed with me all my life. But I didn't follow my dad into shipping. My career was within education. I was a primary head teacher in Bristol for many, many years before working for the local authority. And I've been a volunteer with the SS Great Britain Trust for about 20 years now. I'm a tour guide at the ship and look after visitors. Do come on in, come and take a seat. No, that's all right. Obviously I do this during the week, and I travel the country giving talks on behalf of the trust. I almost feel like I do missionary work on behalf of them, you know, spreading the word about this fabulous ship. And just as a matter of interest, how many of you have visited the ship since COVID? Ah, okay. Well, obviously I'm hoping, well done. You get a sticker for that. Well done. Well, obviously, I'm hoping that my talk this afternoon might encourage you to go down there to see it for yourselves, because we do enhance the visitor experience continually, and it may well have changed since you were last there. But I've called my talk From Launch to Relaunch, because what I want to do with you this afternoon is cover the history of the ship from its original design right the way through its working life, its abandonment, the remarkable return to Bristol, and what we've been achieving down there since she came home. And obviously the relaunch is very much as an award-winning museum. So here we go, SS Great Britain From Launch to Relaunch. And please don't worry, I have not brought the wrong PowerPoint. I know it's a picture of a train, but what I wanted to do was to start by setting the talk in historical context. So our story begins in the 1830s. So with post-industrial revolution, and the invention of the steam engine has already had a profound impact on the way that people could travel, both on land in the form of steam locomotion and on water with the development of early paddle steamers. And it was within this context that a lucrative contract came up for grabs. Now, wherever I go, I always ask a question at this point, which is designed to trick people. You're far too clever to get sucked into this, because I always say, does anyone recognize the chap up in the top right-hand corner? Does anybody recognize him? It's not Gooch. I'll come on to who it is in a minute, because normally what this generates is mutterings of Brunel. But you're much more clever than that. But actually, the big clue is the ship next to him with the characteristic red and black funnel, because it's Samuel Cunard. And I put Cunard's picture up there because the contract in question was to carry the Royal Mail between our country and America. And Cunard decided to tender for the contract by building a fleet of 4 wooden paddle steamers. The Britannia there was the first of the 4. And it was decided that a rival company would be established in Bristol to compete directly with Cunard. And that was the Great Western Steamship Company. And soon after its formation, of course, the directors had to find themselves a chief consulting engineer. And they made a very, very brave choice, because they decided to give the job to this chap. Now, I cannot believe there's anyone who doesn't know who that is. If you don't know who that is, see me afterwards. But they gave the job to Brunel, and I say it was a brave choice because at the time, he hadn't built a ship in his life. He got the job on the back of the success that he was enjoying in creating the Great Western Railway, of course. But the directors recognized in Brunel a pioneering, visionary engineer who could really deliver. And of course, what they wanted him to deliver was a fleet of 4 wooden paddle steamers to match Cunard. But if you know anything about this chap, you'll know that he was never one to stick to a script, and things went way off track, as we will discover. He did, however, deliver the first of the intended 4 paddle steamers. Now, built in Bristol, this is the paddle steamer Great Western, a wooden paddle steamer. And how many of you have, at one time or another, strolled along the Bristol harbour side? How many of you? There we are, a lot of you, of course. You've probably wandered down past the cranes that are still there outside the M-Shed Museum. You might have even got to the end and bought a 99 from the ice cream van that's always parked there. But I wonder how many of you have turned round and looked at the end wall of the M-Shed. Because high up, there's a plaque. And it tells you that the M-Shed Museum stands on the site of the shipyard where Brunel's first ship, the Great Western, was built and launched. It was Patterson's Yard. And of course, she was a successful little wooden paddle steamer on the transatlantic run. And the idea was going to be that there were 3 more just like her. But in fact, in his lifetime, I'm sure you know that he only built 3 great ships. The third, of course, was the Great Eastern. Now, this was this massive ship that he built in London for a different company, biggest ship in the world for over 40 years, but a relative failure. In fact, to be perfectly honest, her only real claim to fame was that she laid the transatlantic telegraph cable, and she finished her days not a million miles away from here, actually, anchored up on the River Mersey, being used as an advertising hoarding for a Liverpool department store before being broken up at Rock Ferry. So not a success. But his second ship, Great Britain, eventually certainly was. Now notice the word eventually. Now you've got to remember that Brunel was coming to shipbuilding with a completely fresh pair of eyes. And he learned a great deal from the way that his wooden paddle steamer, the Great Western, performed at sea. And he realized that there were 2 traditional approaches to shipbuilding that were compromising his big ideas. The first being the traditional use of timber for the ship's hull. Now, Brunel realized that with timber, you're limited in terms of the overall length to which you can build because of the flexibility, but also because you have to use so much timber to get the strength in the hull that you need. It weighs the ship down and makes it rather slow. So he was on the lookout for an alternative. And as luck would have it, at the design stage of this second ship, a vessel came into Bristol called the Rainbow. Now, the Rainbow was a small coastal vessel, but importantly, her hull was made from wrought iron. And Brunel realized that this could be what he was looking for. And he did his sums, and he worked out that if he used wrought iron for the hull of this second ship, not only could he build one of over 300 feet long, but more importantly, she would be light and fast. Now, a lot of people find that somewhat counterintuitive, the idea of an iron hull being light. But of course, the secret is that with wrought iron, you can get a tremendous amount of strength in a thin shell. Loads of space inside, but the thinness of the shell made for a light ship and a fast ship. And he was able to persuade the directors that this is the direction in which they should go. But she was still going to be a paddle steamer, because that's the way ships were driven in those days. But again, he'd noted that as soon as the Great Western hit the open ocean and started to roll, one of the paddle wheels constantly lifted out of the water, not only burning up fuel unnecessarily, but actually causing the ship to zigzag. And he wanted something more efficient. And as luck would have it, At this point, another vessel came into Bristol, which was going to change everything. And that was an experimental vessel called the Archimedes. And as the name suggests, the Archimedes was trialing a prototype screw propeller. And Brunel tried out different designs of propeller before going to the directors with his report with the aim of persuading them to use a propeller on this ship. He was met with a huge amount of resistance. I mean, let's face it, none of us particularly like change. We tend to stick with what we know, but he was a persuasive character, old Brunel, and he eventually won the day, and he got the go-ahead to create in this one ship, the biggest ship in the world, the fastest ship in the world, the first ocean-going ship with an iron hull, driven by propeller, the first luxury transatlantic liner, all in one ship. And you've got to remember that she was launched in Bristol. Come on, clicker. Is it attached to this one? Where's it attached to? That's not working.
Let's have a look, because
Can you advance it for me?
I'll try to.
If it's not advancing, is it on this laptop?
It is.
In
yeah.
which case, could you do me a favor and just press the little arrow button when I tell you to, which is here.
Oh, sorry. Okay, let's do that.
Will that advance?
It's not.
Okay.
I'll have to go.
Have we got is there a doctor in the
Hold on. I'll have to go and get. I'll have to go and get Malcolm. I
Okay.
think he's gonna. Yeah.
Okay, Kevin's got. While we treat this as an intermission, okay? I won't be coming round selling ice creams and Kiora, but just if we are pausing there, has anybody got any particular questions they want to raise at this point about what's been mentioned so far? Anything at all to fill the gap? Go on, be brave, sir.
Can I ask a question about Brunel himself?
Oh dear, this is a problem. Okay, go for
Did
it.
he get all that through simply because of the fame that he already had?
Okay, the question down the front here is, how on earth did Brunel persuade the directors to go along with this plan, given the fact that, well, it was going to be much more expensive? Was it purely and simply, okay, how did you do that?
If you move the cursor using the mouse down here off that screen, then the clicker doesn't know what it's doing. So it's all right.
It's all right now, there we are. I tell you what, stay in here. Somebody lock the door, lock the door. Okay, just to finish off my answer, the question was basically, was he able to persuade the directors to do that because of the fame that he was enjoying on his other projects? I'm sure it had something to do with it, but of course he was extremely persuasive, and he was met with a huge amount of resistance, but he eventually won the day. But his reputation was growing at that time, and of course with the Great Western Railway taking off as well, then you're probably right that had something to do with the directors finally coming around to his way of thinking.
Thank you.
Okay, there we are. Part 2, previously on SS Great Britain. Here we go. So the previous slide, if I go back one, the reason that's there is that you've got to remember that this ship was launched just 38 years after the Battle of Trafalgar. So this was a colossal leap forward. No wonder she's often referred to as the forefather of all modern ships, because after Great Britain, shipbuilding was never, ever the same again. And those of you who have visited the ship will recognize her from this painting, a beautiful looking ship. And she was ready for launch in Bristol in the summer of 1843. And the guest of honor was to be Prince Albert, who was Victoria's consort at the time. And he would take his place on the dockyard with all the other VIPs. And I'm going to show you a picture of a ticket that was issued to those people who wanted to attend the launch. And I think you're going to be greatly relieved to see that the Prince was going to turn up alive. I don't know what the alternative was, to be seen alive. It's almost as if that's a bonus, to be seen alive. Anyway, he was the guest of honor. And you can see what a grand occasion it was for the city to see this ship leave her dry dock. And you're probably aware of the fact that when a ship is launched, the tradition is that a bottle of champagne is to be smashed on the bow. Well, the honor of doing this was given to one of the wives of the company directors. Now, bearing in mind the ship is over 300 feet long, somehow she contrived to miss the ship with the bottle. I have to be very careful when I talk to WI groups about this. But luckily, Prince Albert grabbed hold of a spare bottle and he hurled it at the ship from some 20 feet away, and it smashed on the side, showering the men below in broken glass and champagne. But he saved the day, and she came out to great acclaim. And in fact, Brunel always referred to the ship as his masterpiece. Now, she'd been built to carry 250 first and second class passengers. Notice initially no steerage class accommodation, just first and second class. But in fact, only 45 people bought a ticket for that first voyage. Now, we think that must have had something to do with public doubt about the safety of the ship. Because, of course, let's face it, to a layperson, wood floats. Iron, well, that does the other thing. And they wanted to make absolutely sure that this newfangled idea was going to get them safely across the Atlantic. But, of course, she did it perfectly well in only 15 days, with the propeller proving remarkably efficient. But you might be surprised to learn that her time as a transatlantic liner was to be cut very short indeed. In fact, she only completed 4 return crossings. That's all she did, just 4 return crossings, because the 5th time she left Liverpool, bound for New York, she suffered her first serious accident. And by the way, she always used Liverpool as her home port, not Bristol. Well, she left Liverpool that foggy night, and instead of following the typical blue line on the map there, that night they decided to sail south of the Isle of Man, where they'd look out for the lighthouse on the southern tip, the Calf of Man Light. That would be their signal to turn to the north and to sail up between the Isle of Man and Ireland before heading out across the North Atlantic. Well, even today, the Trust has got no real certainty at what went wrong that night, but for one reason or another, they did not see the Calf of Man Light. So they missed the turn to the north. They continued sailing due west and eventually found themselves washed up on Dundrum Bay Beach on the east coast of Northern Ireland, very narrowly missing the rocks. That was so close to being the end of her. But luckily, she was swept up onto this sandy bay, but she was stuck there for nearly a year before eventually being rescued and taken back to Liverpool. But this whole misadventure had been so costly that it bankrupted the company. And they had to sell off both ships, the Great Western and the Great Britain, just to clear their debts. So you could actually argue that as a transatlantic liner, the Great Britain was an economic failure. And if it hadn't have been for something that happened on the other side of the world at this time, she certainly wouldn't have become the famous ship that we know today. But of course, what I'm referring to is that in 1850-51, gold was discovered in Australia. And of course, this changed everything, because suddenly there was this massive demand by people who wanted to go down to Australia, not just to work the gold fields, but you've got to remember that settlements like Melbourne were rapidly expanding, and they needed the contractors and the professionals to go down there to help build and maintain and expand the infrastructure needed for this rapidly growing population. And of course, they needed the ships capable of taking them. And it was the London ship owners, Gibbs Bright, who bought the Great Britain. Now, if any of you are familiar with the National Trust property just south of Bristol, Tinsfield House, if you know Tinsfield, you might recognize the family name Gibbs. It's the same family. They were joint owners of Gibbs Bright. Come on in, there's a chair with your name on it somewhere. Down here, the lady in yellow, there's some in front of her. There we are. Take a seat. That's all right. I'll be setting questions afterwards, so okay. So Gibbs Bright bought the ship and carried out an extensive refit. And from this painting, you'll see that she's now been converted to being totally square rigged with 2 funnels, because they had new engines fitted. And if you can see above the black and white part of the hull, you might be able to just about make out a yellow band across the top of the black and white hull. That was an extra deck house because they increased the passenger accommodation significantly to 700, mainly with third and fourth class going in. And it was in this guise that the ship enjoyed its glory years between the early 1850s and the late 1870s on the run to and from Australia. And she was mainly under sail. She was always quicker under sail than she ever was under steam. And under sail, she could get up to about 17 knots, which made her just about as quick as the Cutty Sark. She was an incredible ship, and they'd only fire the engines when they needed to. And that's why when you visit the ship and go into our museum, you'll see a lifting cradle with a two-bladed propeller in it, because when they were not using the engines, they found a four-bladed propeller would cause drag. So they were able to return the two-bladed propeller to the vertical, disconnect it, and raise it up into the stern of the ship like an outboard motor. Again, amazing innovation for 1857 for this to be going on. But you'll notice that it wasn't cheap to travel on her. A first-class ticket to Melbourne would be setting you back about £5,000 in today's money. Steerage about 1,500. So these aren't your stereotypical emigrants. We always associate emigration with the early 20th century, relatively poor people going across to America. These were mainly people in pretty good jobs who could afford these sorts of fares to take them down to Australia on short or long-term contracts. And that's why the ship in the interior is perhaps different from what you'd expect. Now, this is an aspect of life on board the ship that might come as a bit of a surprise. They took an enormous number of live animals with them to provide fresh meat and eggs and milk for the journey. And this is just one voyage in 1860, when they took 38 pigs, 2 bullocks, a dairy cow, 133 sheep. Can you imagine? 30 turkeys, 400 geese, 420 chickens, and 300 ducks. Now, obviously, those numbers would decrease the closer to Melbourne you got, once the ship's butcher got his hands on them. But even so, the top deck must have been like a farmyard. And when you think they had to carry all the fodder as well, quite an extraordinary aspect of life on board the ship on these long journeys. Now, twice in the 1850s, she was requisitioned by the government to carry troops, initially ferrying them across from Malta to the Crimean War. And a couple of years later, she also took soldiers down to the Indian Mutiny or Rebellion. And the sketch you see there was done by one of the soldiers going out to Crimea. In 1861, she took the first All England cricket team down to Australia. So the very first time a cricket team left our shores, they travelled on the Great Britain. And they were a successful touring party. They did a heck of a lot better than the shower that went down this winter. In fact, the wicketkeeper was W.G. Grace's brother Edward, and we got a ball signed by him in our Brunel Institute. So that's another claim to fame that the ship has. Now, every year for our visitors, we always tend to focus in on one particular aspect of life on board. A couple of years ago, we looked closely at food on the ship, and I'll be telling you about that in a minute. But at the moment, we're looking at the role that the ship played in what became known as the global migration of plants. Because before the 1850s, the only successful way that you could trade in plants around the world was generally in seed form, because a mature plant wouldn't survive a long sea journey. But in London in the 1850s, a chap called Ward invented what became known as the Wardian case. And on the photograph there, we've got 2 of the several replica Wardian cases that we've currently got up on the weather deck. And they're almost like modern day terrarium. And they created this microclimate within the frame, which enabled people to trade in mature plants. And of course, the Great Britain was taking several plants down to Australia. Coming back in the other direction, somebody in London must have been getting pretty wealthy on the back of this, because these plants that were going around the world would only need to be watered once on a 2-month journey. And that is why the Wardian frame became so successful. Coming to this country on the ship, there were decorative ferns, because there was a craze for those in Victorian London, but also there were also orchids. Now, as I say, somebody was getting pretty rich on the back of this trade, because in 1870s London, a single orchid would cost you about £300. In today's money, that is £25,000 for one orchid. So somebody must, as I say, must be getting pretty rich on the back of this. And we look closely at the role that the ship played in that particular trade. Now, you're probably sitting there thinking, well, that's all well and good, but what on earth do you do cooped up on an iron ship for 2 months? How do you pass the time? Well, luckily over the years, we've had a great many journals and diaries passed to us by families whose ancestors traveled on the ship and kept a detailed account of their experiences on the ship. And from them, we know, especially in first and second class, they would play board games like backgammon and chess and draughts. The talented would put on musical recitals and plays and poetry readings to entertain their fellow passengers. And also, they published on the ship a regular newsletter called the Great Britain Times, which would keep the passengers up to date with the progress of the ship, but also alert them to interesting things that were going on board in which they might want to join in. And of course, that's been hugely helpful to the Trust in terms of interpreting the interior of the ship since she returned to Bristol. Now, you won't be surprised to learn that there was strict segregation on board according to class. So your ticket determined which parts of the ship you were allowed into. That sign there up on the weather deck says first class passengers only beyond this line. But interestingly, on the Great Britain, you were also segregated by gender. They put all the single men in the bow, single women right the way down in the stern. Midships was reserved for families and married couples. They kept the single people as far away from each other as possible. Didn't want any hanky-panky on the Great Britain. But what's brilliant is that people got around this arrangement. And there's this fabulous diary entry about a Mrs. Hodgson in first class that I'll share with you now. And it reads, all the ladies of Qatar, as she took up very familiarly with a very shady man. She's decidedly the fast one on board and has obtained the name the lively woman amongst the sailors. So hats off to her. Clearly 2 months of backgammon wasn't sufficient excitement for her. She had a good time. So good on Mrs. Hodgson. Good time. Now, food on board the ship really was extraordinary. Even in steerage, it was perfectly adequate. But in first class, it really was something else. And again, it's thanks to diaries that we've got a good idea of what the menus would have looked like. And one of the diaries was kept by Mary Crompton. Now, Mary had got married in Melbourne and was travelling back to Liverpool on the ship on her honeymoon with her new husband. And she kept a very detailed account of her experiences during the voyage, including the food she enjoyed in first class. And I'm going to share with you a couple of entries from Mary's diary. We've actually published her diary and sell it in our shop. This is what Mary writes. I never saw such a place as this for eating. People seem to do very little else. We had breakfast at 9, lunch at 12, dinner at 4, and tea at 7:30. Now, just imagine getting up first thing in the morning, and this is the menu you're faced with at breakfast. Our breakfasts are wonderful. Hot beef steak, mutton chops, boiled saltfish, herrings, potted anchovies, cold ham, tongue, beef, boiled eggs, eggs and bacon, cold boiled fowl, hot rolls, tea, coffee and toast. And you got lunch at 12 o'clock. So there's breakfast. Now dinner in first class was 7 courses. And again, here's another first class passenger telling us all about that. I've had dinner, which was first rate, quite such as you get at the best hotels. Soup, grouse, pigeon and veal pies, pork, ham and other meat dishes, sundry puddings and tarts and jelly, blancmange, cheese celery, and after all, a dessert. So you ate spectacularly well. But of course, what goes hand in hand with all this fabulous food at sea and the ship's doing this? Oh, yes. As you'd expect, the diaries are full of accounts of people being dreadfully seasick. And if you have visited the ship in recent years, you'll know that we like to give our visitors a multi-sensory experience. And we're not content just to give you the sights and sounds. Oh, no, we like to give you the smells as well. And if they've just topped up the chemical reservoir in this cabin where this poor maid is being ill into a bowl, the smell can get a bit ripe at times. I've seen quite a few visitors having to sort of grab their nose and scuttle past the door. So seasickness was a big issue to these passengers, as of course was the temperature range, because you've got to remember that you're leaving our temperate latitudes, going all the way down through the steaming hot tropical and equatorial waters, down into the Southern Ocean, where at certain times of the year they would even encounter icebergs. So that was another thing that these people would have had to have contended with. And if that wasn't enough, there were these chaps, and they went everywhere. And I can see your seasoned sailors, because wherever I present this slide, I always get a collective, ooh, but you're obviously in tune with these characters. But anyway, this is from a first-class passenger. We're beginning to see the rats. One came into my cabin the other night as I was going to bed. I jumped onto the berth. Mrs. Fenwick was wakened by one biting her toenails. And that gets a particularly reaction from the audience. So yes, so lots of things for these people to put up with on these long journeys to and from Australia. But by the late 1870s, the demand for passage was beginning to tail off. And so Gibbs Bright withdrew the ship from service and put her up for sale. By then, she'd been around the world over 30 times, doing over 1 million miles, and had taken over 16,000 emigrants to Australia. So many families can track back through their history to someone who travelled on the ship. Well, it was a few years later that an associate company, Anthony Gibbs, bought the Great Britain and put her to a new use, because by now the Americans were extending their railroads to the west coast and were importing high-grade steam coal. And so Anthony Gibbs bought the Great Britain, stripped out her engines, stripped out all the passenger accommodation to create a coal-carrying cargo ship. But interestingly, now she's a pure sailing ship, a windjammer. So technologically, she went backwards during her history from a steamship to a sailing ship. And in this early photograph, you might also think that it now looks like she has got a wooden hull. The reason that she looks like that is that the new owners, having stripped out the interior, thought the iron hull would be weakened. So they clad the top sides above the waterline in pine planking on both sides of the ship. Now, we don't think that was necessary, but as it turns out, it was hugely helpful to the long-term preservation of the ship. Well, in 1882, the ship was ready to sail out of Penarth, laden with 3,000 tons of Welsh steam coal bound for San Francisco in California. And she completed 2 round trips of about a year each, but it was on her 3rd trip out in 1886 that disaster struck. They were just going around Cape Horn and got caught in a ferocious storm, suffered some damage, particularly to the rigging, so they had to put back to the Falkland Islands, where they hoped that she could be repaired. But when they got to Port Stanley, they soon realized the repairs were going to cost more than the ship was worth. And so she was sold to the Falkland Island Company for just £2,000. And for many, many years, they just anchored her outside the harbour and used her as a floating warehouse to store coal and wool for the islanders. And she was used like that right the way round to the 1930s. But by then, her decks were rotten. They didn't really need her anymore. And in 1937, they took the very sad decision to tow her further around the coast to Sparrow Cove, where she was beached at low tide. Holes were bashed in her belly so she'd take on water. And having scuttled her, she was abandoned, the idea being that over time, the South Atlantic would finish her off. What a sad end that would have been, by goodness me. And do you know what? Just after the Second World War, there was even talk of the British Navy towing her out to sea and using her as target practice. Yikes, they didn't, thank goodness. And by the mid to late 1960s, things started to look a little bit more positive. And it was mainly thanks to this, where is he? There he is, this rather dapper-looking gentleman. Now, this is Ewan Corlett, who at the time was a prominent maritime architect. And if you are very much into the technical side of ship design and so on, some of you might possess, I know one person has got the iron ship, that Corlett wrote. It's a very technical, rather dry read, but you'll love it. But to the layperson, it's a bit of a dry read, but it is very, very detailed in terms of the ship's build and construction. But Ewan Corlett wrote to the London Times in 1967 saying what a tragedy it was that such an important ship was just being left to rot on the other side of the world. Surely something should be done. Well, his letter triggered a survey which concluded that, yes, salvage is possible, but it's going to be hugely expensive and incredibly difficult. But people weren't put off. A project committee was set up under Lord Strathcona, and an appeal went out for funding. And that's when the... Pardon? Oh, really? There you go.
And president.
And president. Okay, gosh. I mean, obviously, I didn't know that, Kevin, so well done. Okay, so he was the project committee chair, and having put out an appeal for funding, this is when the hero of the hour emerged. Now, I'm sure some of you will know who this is. Anyone from Wolverhampton area? I always ask because he was chair at Wolves Football Club for many, many years. This is Sir Jack Hayward, passionate believer in all things British. In fact, he bought Lundy Island and gave it to the nation. And it was Sir Jack that funded a combined German-English salvage team to take the world's largest submersible pontoon down to the Falkland Islands early in 1970. And if you make a mental note of these vertical guide poles, it'll help you understand how they came to salvage the ship. So there they are, they're down in the Falklands. It's early 1970. And they set about removing the 3 remaining masts so that the center of gravity was kinder for when they came to refloat her. But then they ran up against a very serious problem. Now, in this next photograph, I'm hoping you can just about make out a dark rectangle at the top of the picture there. Now, this is midships on the starboard side. And that was a hatchway that the islanders had cut to make loading and unloading coal easier. But after she'd been scuttled, it proved to be a weak point. And as you can see, a crack developed that split the hull right the way down to the keel. And at the time of the survey, the crack had opened up to about 18 inches wide, but more worriedly, there'd been a vertical shift as well. So they realized they couldn't possibly refloat her in that condition, otherwise she'd just break her back. So Lord Strathcona went on the Falklands radio and put out an appeal for mattresses. Now, I've got no idea what the islanders slept on afterwards because they had over 80 given to them. But the idea was that these mattresses were cut up into strips and given to divers who then jammed them into the crack, almost like a flexible filler. And I'm told that in the days of wooden sailing boats, they'd very often use a similar method with hammocks and that sort of thing. But they basically used the slices of mattress to pack the crack and used other materials to complete the repair. But the idea was that as they pumped the water out of the hull and she came back afloat, the side would realign and squeeze against the mattresses, which would help provide a watertight seal down the side of the ship. So having completed the repair, I'm sure they just crossed everything, started the pumps and hoped for the best. And as you'll see from the next photograph, it worked. Because here she is back afloat, and again the pine cladding very, very visible. And these are these vertical guide poles that you saw earlier, because the pontoon has been submerged under the water. The ship has been refloated and is being towed above the pontoon, and when it's in the right position, air is pumped into tanks on the pontoon, causing it to rise very slowly back to the surface and underneath the ship. And in this photograph, here's the pontoon now back at the surface, and that's the ship being made secure to the top of it and made ready for the 8,000-mile tow back across the Atlantic. And after calling in at Montevideo in Uruguay to pick up supplies, they set out. Now, as you very well know, the Atlantic can throw anything at you, but they were pretty fortunate. They had a reasonable crossing, and here she is coming into Avonmouth just 49 days later. Whilst in Avonmouth, further work was done to the hull, including the starboard crack. So when you go down into our dry dock, you'll see some steel plate that was bolted over the crack in Avonmouth, just to make absolutely sure that she would hold in one piece for the last several miles back up the Avon into Bristol when she was taken off the pontoon because she had to come back up the river on her own bottom. And it was on the early morning tide of Sunday, July the 5th, 1970, that they set out. Now, how many of you were there that morning to see her come back? Any at all? I always ask, because 100,000 people turned out to welcome her home. And I speak to a lot of people who were there that morning, and they often say to me, oh, we thought it was great. We got up really early to see her come home. But where we were standing, as soon as she came into view, a few people near us were muttering things like, what are they bringing that rusty old thing back for? Because, of course, she was just an empty, rusty hulk. But back up the river she came, and if you know the John King tug in Bristol Harbour, the John King was one of the tugs that brought her back up the river. And, of course, it was the only time in her history that she passed under the Clifton Suspension Bridge, because when she left Bristol, the bridge hadn't been built. And there were people up on the bridge dropping rose petals down on her as she came underneath. And here she is coming in through the locks at the entrance to the harbour, again, the pine cladding very visible. And then there was a bit of a delay, because the idea was she was returning to the very dock in which she'd been built. But the Bristol Harbour, although it's locked at both ends, does rise and fall slightly according to tide. You might know that. Well, they realised that the tide had to be at a particular height if her keel was going to clear the sill of the dock on the way back in. So they took her further down the harbour and moored her up roughly where the watershed is today and just waited for a sufficiently high tide. Now, talk about meant to be, and I'm not making these dates. You have a listen to this. If you read the plaque on the end of the M shed, it tells you that Brunel's first ship, the Great Western, was launched from there on July the 19th, 1837. The keel of the Great Britain was laid in her dry dock on July the 19th, 1839. The launch of the Great Britain, when the woman missed her with a bottle, July the 19th, 1843. Guess when the tide was just right? Isn't that crackers? It was the evening tide of Sunday, July the 19th, 1970. She'd been moored up round the corner here. Here she is being manoeuvred by the tugs. This, of course, is her dry dock where she was built. The idea being she would be towed into position here and then be brought back in stern first. And in this next photograph, here she is coming in. You can see a tractor over here on the starboard side with a line to the starboard stern, one on the port side as well. She came back in. Her keel cleared the sill of the dock by 7 inches, and they got her in and they closed the gate just 20 minutes before the water level started to drop. They must have breathed a huge sigh of relief. And it's actually said that the ship did. Apparently, the dock manager who supervised the draining of the dock said that as she started to settle down onto her blocks and supports, she gave out this enormous groan, and then there was silence. It was almost as if she was saying, oh, thank goodness that's over. I'm back home, now leave me alone. But she was back safe and sound, exactly where she deserved to be. And if you have visited over the years, you'll know that a tremendous amount has been achieved. This was the state of the bow soon after she came back in the early 1970s. But here it is today. And if you haven't been in recent years, she's not back afloat. I'll explain that to you in a minute. And by the way, we've just completed the complete painting of the black and white part of the hull. So at the moment, she looks absolutely brand new. It looks fabulous. I'll explain about the water around the ship in a minute. The top deck was in a dreadful state, of course, and there's Prince Philip coming up one of the companionways, a great supporter of the project. In fact, he insisted on being on the ship as she came back up the Avon into Bristol, even though he'd broken his arm in a polo accident the previous day, so he had his arm in a sling. But you can see the state of the weather deck, but today it looks absolutely splendid. And in fact, last year we reboarded the entire deck, so that is also looking brand new as well. It's in lovely condition. And as I mentioned, she was stripped out completely. So when she came back into Bristol, she was an empty shell. So what the Trust has done over time is to put back in sections that relate to the different phases of her working life. So it's a bit of a jigsaw down below. So whenever I take groups around the ship or talk to visitors, I always make sure what part of her history they're aware they're walking through. It's a bit of a jigsaw otherwise. As an example, here's the first-class promenade deck from the 1840s. So when she was on the transatlantic run, all these rooms around the perimeter would have been first-class cabins, and this is now set aside for we have weddings in here and all sorts of things. And oh, is that a mobile phone? That's great. It gives me an opportunity to tell you a little story about mobile phones. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. I'm pleased that you prompted this, because obviously I give talks to a whole load of different groups, including WIs. Now, WIs, you're probably aware, and I don't mean to offend any WI members who are here, but they have got a bit of a reputation for sponge cakes in Jerusalem. But this phone went off in a WI meeting, and normally it can be a little bit disruptive, but I didn't mind at all, because the ringtone was the Bake Off theme. And I just thought that was so good. Anyway, first class promenade deck. All these would have been first class cabins, and this is where these people would promenade up and down to get a little bit of exercise as they crossed to New York. The stern of the ship looking very sad indeed, back in the early 70s, and of course no propeller, because she finished her days as a sailing ship. But nowadays, especially when she's lit from below, those beautiful gold decorative workings around the stern ports really do look fabulous. So an enormous amount has been achieved. But, now this is a but with about 6 capital B's in front of it. You might remember that when she was converted for cargo use, they clad the topsides in pine. Well, soon after she was back in Bristol, they stripped the pine off, washed the black and white part of the hull off with high pressure water jets, and several coats of specialized paint later, the topsides were pretty good. But below the waterline, where she'd been sitting in that shallow salt water down in the Falklands for all those years, she started to corrode very, very quickly. And on closer inspection, the trust soon realized that the salts had bonded with the iron, and being hygroscopic was soaking up all the moisture around the dock, and she was just being eaten alive. And for many, many years, the trust just didn't know what to do. And it was round about the turn of the millennium, where we were in serious danger of losing her completely, that we commissioned Cardiff University and some professional conservators to come up with an answer to this problem. And somehow they stumbled across a dehumidification system in use in an aspirin factory in Scandinavia, as you do. And some bright spark just had one of those light bulb moments where they thought, of course, if we can somehow create an atmospheric chamber around the bottom part of the ship where we control the humidity, preventing it rise above 20%, the salts won't be active, problem solved. And we got a big injection of lottery money, which enabled us to cap the dock with these glass plates. And there's harbour water circulated across the top of them. So it looks fabulous. But if you look along the keel here, you'll see these vents. And there are similar vents inside the hull as well. So dry air is constantly playing across the iron plates from both sides. And all the monitoring suggests that as long as we keep paying the bills, that ship should still be there in 100 years' time and beyond. It is working fabulously, but of course it's massively expensive. And that's why I'm always so hugely grateful to groups like your own who give me an opportunity to come along and talk to the ship, because Kevin very kindly agreed that he would be making a donation on your behalf to the SS Great Britain Trust. So thank you so much for that. I'm next down at the ship towards the end of next week, so I'll put it straight in the gas meter for you, Kevin. So many, many thanks. But of course, what this arrangement has done is made for a unique visitor experience. And I always recommend people start their visit by coming down into the dry dock, because it really does set things in context. And by the way, if anyone has access needs, whether it be mobility or wheelchair users or whatever, there's a lift down into the dry dock, lift through museums, lift down through the ship. It's a very accessible site. And if you come down into our dry dock, you can go right the way around the ship's keel, getting a close look at those riveted wrought iron plates that have been around the world over 30 times. Down at the stern, we've got a replica of her original 6-bladed propeller and Brunel's balanced rudder, and you stand there with the stern towering above you through the glass. On board, this will be of interest to you, and please don't ask me any complicated questions about this afterwards. I was a primary head teacher, remember, not an engineer. But it is a working replica of the 1,000 horsepower engine that she's launched with. And it really is fantastic. It's see that in action, turning the clock down at the bottom of the hull. It really is like the ship starting speaking again, although obviously it's driven by electric, not steam these days. And it's done a lot more miles than the original engine ever did, just turning away. So there's the engine room. And of course, we kitted out a lot of the rest of the ship. A few more examples for you. First class cabins in the 1840s during the transatlantic days. A section of family accommodation during her voyages from Australia. And we put in a section of steerage class accommodation from the voyages from Melbourne. And I speak to a lot of visitors down there and persuade them that this compares pretty favourably with other ships of the time, but they're never really convinced. And I've had a few people wander away muttering things like, 2 months down here, never moaned about a long haul flight again. Got to see what these people put up with. So there's some steerage class accommodation, there's some soldiers going out to Crimea. And of course, here's our galley. This was really pleasant a few years ago now. So when you go in there, there's Captain Pound bubbling away on the iron range. And the ship's cook there is preparing mackerel for breakfast. So it's full of Christmas now. And he's singing away to himself. He's generally happy, but occasionally he gets kicked off to the ship. Now, if I put my red dot in the middle of the screen and take it up towards the top there, there's Robert, the ship's cat. And he's a very lazy cat. And the cook occasionally says things like, chase after them, you lazy Senko, do your job. And the reason he's getting so cross with Robert is that whilst the cat's up there not doing very much, running up and down this shelf here is a rat. And of course, they're not real, of course, but if you're children especially love coming into our galley and seeing these good stuff. And of course, I always sympathise with going around the ship and first class dining room. Really has got that wow factor. It's very authentic. The part shows in special for it to replicate the part of the room and 1842. The engine goes loose on the top of the cabin, and all the rooms around the premises have been first class cabins. But these are now second class locations. This is where regular functions on board. So we have cabin receptions. When I got married on the ship, we have corporate dinners, birthday parties, merger and this is
I think we're pretty nearly ready to start. Okay, let's have our first item, shall we? Ian, bring them forward. What have we got? This is a complete box of bits. Courtesy, I think, of Malcolm Duckett. There's some nice, they're all clacks apart from one steam trap. There's one steam trap and a pressure reducing valve. Okay, so let's start that at a £5, shall we? £5 from the back for Jim. Anyone going to give us, let's say seven over here. Try, okay, 8. Give us 10. Anybody for 10? 10 here. 12. Do we have 12? Do we have 12? 12 at the back, Jim. Let's try 15. 15 here. 15 here. Can we try 18? 18 to Jim. So you're holding it in the right place there. 20. Do we have 20 for it? 20 here. Going to Holland. 20. 22 from Jim. Right. Sorry. Do we have 24? 24. Okay. 22. 22 has it with Jim at the back. Do we say 22? Going? Oh, no. Hold it. It's coming up here. 24. 24 to Bert. 24. 24. No. Look at the back again. It's down the back there with Jim. Jim, do you want 24? Okay. 26. He's going to go to 26. Can you going to go to that? He's going to that. Turn around, sir. Right. Anybody else? 26. A look, are you? Say 28. Otherwise, it's showing at 26 to the back of the room. 26 to the back of the room. Gentleman with the hat. Don't normally approve of hats in church. And then I remembered this isn't a church. So 20. Right, Ian, 26, going to Jim. Jim, you got, it's number 5, Jim. What do we got next? Another wonderful box of bits. Now, this one's spectacular. Various fittings, even some long nipples, if you pardon the expression. Various T-pieces, lots of 3/8 stuff. Nipples and adapters, okay? Nipples and adapters, let's start that at 10. 10 to Ned, 10. Do we have 12? What? We don't have 12. You do have 12. Okay. 12. Do we get 15? 15, 15, 15 to Ned, 17. 17. Okay. 15 to Bert. Gone. All right. I haven't got a hammer to hit. Oh, no. Hold it. Was it Ned? Yeah, it was Ned. Sorry. Confusion from the auctioneer. Nobody's given me a gavel, so I've got to just do the best I can. Pair of scissors, that'll do nicely, thank you. Right, the number 4. We can do it properly. What do we got here? Another box of bits. This looks like some valves, some nice valves, couple of goodies. Are they steam rated? All steam rated, as marked. Okay, so let's start those at 5. Do we have 5? 5 at the back with number 4. Do we have 7? 7. Examination going on here. No. Oh, yes, 7. 7 with number 8. What about, let's say 9? 9. Okay. Number 4 will give us. Are you interested in 10? Okay, 12. 12. Back, go, look at the back again. 12, 14. 14, 12 with Ned, okay? No, going at 12 to number 4. All right, what have we got next? Oh, some very interesting and good unions. These are wonderful things, and some of them are new by the look of it. Very nice. This, I think we should start at a tenner. They're mostly soft iron, but yeah, things like that. All rated at 250 psi above. I'm going to start those at 10. 10 to number 4. 12. Do we have 12? Do we have 12? 12? No, that's no, that's okay. Do we have 14? Anybody going to give us 14? 14 to 19. 15, Nigel. 15? 15? What about, let's say, 17? Okay. Anybody going to give us 18? Or are you just scratching your face? So, okay. So we got 17 to the back. Oh, no, hold it. 19. What are you going to offer us? 18? 18.
He just shrugged. Listen, I'm robbing you, okay? 18 to number 19 at the front here. Going at 9. Oh, hold it. Going at £20. £20. Anybody over here? Anybody over here? Okay, £20 to number 19. Do we get 22? 22? 22 to 23. That's confusing, okay? 24 to number 4. Anybody going to give us 25? £25. 23. 26. Okay, let's make it 30, all right? Let's not messing around. 30. £30 for anybody. Anybody give us 30? Nope. 28. Yeah, it was actually. Yeah, but I'm trying to make a profit for the SBA. Okay, 26 to Ned at the back. Gone at 26. What have we got here? Oh, it looks beautiful, actually. There it is. Lovely looking thing. And these things are expensive. About £180 new. About 100. Can I start this at 40? An inverter for £40. A pressure jet burner, okay. No, anybody give us 40? Let's try 25. Starting at 25. 25, okay. Anybody give us 28? Possible 28. Phil, are you interested? Phil Jones here at 28. Okay, let's try 30. £30 for this inverter. Going at 28 to Phil Jones, number 6. Gone. This is another inverter. This one's been used, but it's in very good condition. Recently reconditioned. So, very good. This one, let's start this one at 20. Anybody interested in an inverter at 20? A good one? No, 15. 15. What number 2? He's the man who actually restored it. So, 50. Of course he will do. Yes, going at 15. Unless anybody would give us 17. 17. 17. Otherwise, it goes to Simon for 15. Going. Gone. What else we got? A wonderful chime whistle. This is a Malcolm Duckett special. Blow it. Go on. You'll probably get some horrible disease. But yeah. Oh, there. Very good. Okay, let's start that at 15. £15. To the back, number 4. Do we get 20 for that? Anybody? 20 to number 6 here. What about 24? 24 at the back there. 24. 25. Ian, over here. 25 to number 6. Okay, let's try now 27. 27 to the back. Okay, 27. Oh, yeah, you're waving it again, aren't you? All right, you're scratching your knee there. No, go on 30, I'm afraid. Yes, so do we have 30? We do from number 6. 32. 32. Yeah, at the back, 32. 35. 35. 35. Going at 35 or not, or yes, 35 to number 4. You've got 30. You're a sharp practice. You're sharp practice, but good. 32 at the back. Gone to number 4. £32. Right. The skin fitting. It's if you've got a new boat that you're building, let's give that a £5. A £5, phosphor bronze. Who would like to? £5 for that. 2. Or 2. Jim's offering 2. Oh, hold it. Would you give us a £5? Yep, £5 over here. £7. No. Going for a £5 to Scotland. Going, gone. Right. A brand new, never used bilge pump. I happen to know that several people have picked this up and said they ought to have it. Let's start that at, let's try 15. 15. Start 15 to number 17 over there. Anybody prepared to offer us 18 to the back? 18? 18 or 20? 20? Okay, do we have 22? 22 over here to 19. 24? 24 to number 6. Anybody prepared to make it 25? 25 over there to 19. 28. 28. Oh my word. 28 to Ray. 30. Do we have 30 for this pump? And at the back, 32. 35. Who will get 35 for it? Okay, 35. Let's try 38. 38. 38. 38. 40. 40 to number 6. Anybody going to beat that? 42. 42. 42. 44. 42. It goes to Scotland again. There we go. 42. Going for 42. Yes, less. Where's the bottom? Where's the foot valve? Yeah. This is going to be a harder sale. Let's start this at £2. So starting at £2 goes for to number 17 for £2. Anybody give us 4? You give us 4. Okay, 5. Anybody give us a 5? Oh gosh, wow. 5. 6. Do we have 6? 6. September 17. No, 8. £8. Do we get £8 for it? Yep, we do. 10. Do we get a tenner? 10. We do. Over to number 17. 10. 12. Do we get a 12? 12. Going for 12. No, going for 10. All right. 10 to number 17, I think. Going, gone. You did well. Yeah. Now, this is a nice hand pump. I've had it explained to me. Yes, it goes with it. It goes with it. It had it explained to me. There are spaces for 2 clack valves there, or you can unbolt that. This has got the clack valves in it, so that will enable you to bolt it all up, and it should work rather nicely. A rather nice hand pump. Do you want to lift the handle up? Show what it looks like. Let's start that at 25. 25. Who gives 25 for a hand pump? 25. Nobody wants to give us 25? Well, I'd started at 25 actually, because I'd like that. 25. Anybody want to give us 30 for it? 30. Okay, 35. Used to be on Beaver. 35. 35. It's going for 30 to Brian. 30. Going once. Going twice. Sold to Brian. A very good buy, I think, Brian. I think one at a time, because these are lovely ball valves. They're really good as regulator valves. One. Okay, one is new. That one is second hand and being used, but they're good. Let's try this second hand one. Let's start that at 5. Who'll give us 5? Ball valve. Anybody? Ball valve for anybody? Okay, let's put it with this one, which is a new one. It's now one lot. Okay, and £10 for these 2. £10 for these 2. 19 will. £12. £12. 15. £12. It's going for £12. Number 19. Okay, gone. And this here is a lovely whistle valve. This is a serious whistle valve that could does service on a locomotive, I think. But it's beautiful. These things are very, very expensive. So I'm going to start this at 25. 25. Who will give us 25 for a whistle valve? Works well. Okay, 20. Who will start that at 20? Do we have 20 for it? Yes, we do for number 8 here. 25. Who will give us 25? For number 6? 30 for that. 30. 30. Okay, 25 going to Phil Jones. Number 6. Okay. Nice flexible drive joint for a larger prop shaft. Yeah. It's missing the other side, but you can make one of those. Exactly right. Dead right. Okay, let's start that one at 20. So a critical part of your boat. Anybody give us 20 for that? A nice drive joint. Anybody interested? 15. 15. Anybody give us 15 for it? 10. It started at 10. Any less, or just leave it. 5 for it. It's a very nice joint. There we go. Over to Peter. So a £5. We've got £5 for that. Anybody give us £7? It's going for a £5. Once, twice, 3 times. And your number, sir? What's your number? What's your number? It's Peter Hammond. We've got here, for those who use rigging on their steamboats, we have to say shame on you, but these are very nice. That some people have been using rigging for years with junk sails, but that's okay. Mr. Jones. So we've got 4 of these, rather nice. What do you call them really? They're pulleys, pulleys. Yeah. Let's start those at 15. Let's start those at 15. £15 for those 4. Washing lines, great. Yep. £10. £10. Anybody give us £10 for 6 to number 6? £10. Anybody give us 12? For £10. Gone. Okay. Next one. Same thing. These are sort of, one is, they're sort of, that's a cleat, but these, leading ropes across a deck. Okay, so that's 1 cleat. Let's start these at, let's say, £10. £10 for these. Anybody starts at 10? 10? 10? Okay, 5? Anybody for 5? All right, not going for 5. You sure nobody wants to sell these at 5? Otherwise, talk to Malcolm and he'll give them to you. So we'll pop those back on the table, all right? Yeah, okay, thank you very much. Right, what do we got next? Oh, these. Yeah, I have a vested interest. Yeah, so don't worry, I'm not going to rip anybody off. This is a nice fat lady, actually. So anybody want that? I'd like to start that at, say, 20. 20. Yep, going to the back, 20. Anybody, 25? 25 for a fat lady. 25 here. Anybody give us 30 for it? 30 at the back to Jim. 35. Anybody give us 35? 35. It's going to 30 at the back for the moment to Jim. Going for 30 once, twice, 3 times. There we go, to number 5. You got that, Did you get it? No, you've got a list in front of you. Yes, I have. And all you need to do is mark off what we got for it, which is £30. Okay. Fat lady, that's it. And we've got a very small lathe here. This came to me fairly recently, and I thought, well, I'm not going to use that. So who would like it? It's got new belts on it, a nice little Unimat lathe. Let's start that at 20. 20 to the back, and we'll give us 25 for it. 25 to number 17. 30 to number 16. 35, anybody at the back? 35. Who will give us 40 for it? 40 to 17. 45 to 19. 45? 45. 50. Anybody give us 50? 45 at the moment to number 9. Oh, to 50. 50 to the back. £50 going for 50. Going for 55. 55 to 19. 60. Offering 60 to 16. And the back, hold it. 65. 65 to 16 to number 4 at the back. Are you number 5? Oh, you're number 5. So 65 at the moment. Anybody give us 70 for it? 70 to number 17. Adrian, number 19 is offering us 70. So we have 75. 75. 75 at the back. 75. 75. 80. 80. 85. Goodness me. This is embarrassing. 85. 85 to number 19. Happy with that? Going? No. You'll do 90 to number 16. Great Scott. I'm going to be able to eat tonight. So we got 95 to number 19. Do we have 100? Number 19 gets it at 9. You've got to 100 at number 16. Okay. Do we have 100? I've got 105. Goodness me. 100. You really want it. 105. 110. 110. We got it for 105. Happy with that? 105. Going. 110. No, I won't. 110. 110 going to number 60. No, 115. 115 to number 19. 115 going, gone. Thank you. Yeah. The SBA does get a cut of all these, actually, so you'll be pleased to hear. Now, this one is quite light, actually. It's a mud weight, and it weighs 1.5 tons. Very useful if you're in a lake or even on a canal, actually. Who would like to give us a fiver for a nice big mud weight? We made a cast iron. Okay. £2, £2, £2 to the back, number 4. Anybody give us £4? £4. What about a fiver? Do we get fiver? Yes, to the back. Fiver to the back. Any more? £6. £6. It's yeah, here. £7. No, going for £6. Once, twice to number 30. Sold. Okay, and these are, how many drawings are there? These were for a lecture. I bought these for a lecture. There's 3 of them on for the Archaeological Divers Association a couple of years ago. They wanted to know the kind of machinery you find in steamships that they find at the bottom of the ocean. And I had a whole day with them, and it was great fun. But these pictures come from there. So you've got 3 like that. Let's start them at a tenner. There's 4 of them. 4 of them. A tenner. Anybody give us a tenner for them? Tenner for 4. Very nice GA drawings, general arrangement drawings. £10. £10. Fiver. Fiver to Bert. Fiver. Anybody? 6. Going for a fiver to Bert. Going, gone. There we go. What else we got? Towing gear. Yeah. Anybody wanting to put a front hook on their vehicle? You've got some interesting things in here. Well, Ian will get them out. You've got a couple of ordinary balls. And there we go, one of those. Yep, okay. Yes, there's the inflatable Land Rover, so one of those. Okay. Anybody who starts at 10? £10 for these items here to do with a towing and a front hook. £10. Anybody interested? Yep, £10 at the back there. Anybody gives 12? 12, 15. Do we get 15? 15 at the back. Let's go up to 18. 18 to number 6. 20. Do we get 20 for that? 20 at the back. 22. 22 to number 6. 24. 24, but you've got it for 22 at the moment. So let's go for 22. Going. Oh, you got it for 24. 24. Okay, 24 at the moment to number 6. Do we want to take it up to 25? 25, 25, 26, 26, 27. 27, but you've got it for 26 at the moment. No, you haven't. You've got it for 27. So 27, 27, 28, 28, 28, 28. Okay, 30, £30. Let's stop this now. £30. Going, you wanted 28, you want 30? 30, 32. Okay, 34. Do we get 34? Got it for 32 to number 6. Going, gone. A bit of fun here. If anybody's ever had a steamboat fire, which does happen from time to time, very, very ancient fire extinguisher. But if you shake it, it's got gunge in it. Yes, so very ancient, but it could be made into something pretty, if you did a period piece. Yes, you yourself to smithereens if you threw it on the fire. So let's start that at £2. £2. £2 for a pyrene extinguisher. £2. Yep. £2. £4. £4. £4. Going. Go. 5. Fiver. Okay. 6. 7. £7. Okay. All right. Let's stop this now. 9. 9. Tenner. Okay. Are you prepared to go to 10? 12. 12. Nope, you've got it. Number 16's got it for 12. Going, gone. Pyrene fire extinguisher. Nice little plumber block here. Nice little plumber block. Fiver for that. Outrigger bearing for a small stationary engine, actually. Anybody interested? Fiver for that. Going over here. Fiver over here. Let's have silence, actually, if we can, please. Fiver. £6. £6, anybody? £6. No, £5, actually. Going for £5 once, twice, 3 times. Brilliant. What do we got here? Oh, yeah. Tiny little pump. It's got its plunger. Just needs a couple of clack valves. It's ran on one of my boats for years. Somebody give us, let's say, for that. Fiver for a little pump back. £5. Do we have 6? 6. Otherwise, going for 5, 6, 7. 7. What about, let's say, 9? You'll give me 10. We've got 10 for this. Anybody give 12? 12. Okay, 14. Anybody? 14, 14. It's going for 12 to the back to number 5. Sold. Okay. Oh, this one. Yes, that's a thermometer. It tells us it's just under 20 degrees in here. It's a Hotwell thermometer, actually. Anybody give us a fiver for that one? Going for 5, 5, 5 over here to Peter. Anybody give us 6, 6, 6, 6 over here. £7, £7. Okay, going for 7 at the moment. First, second. Hang on, 8, 8. All right, 9, 9. Anybody give us 10? 10 to Peter. Let's say 12, 12. Anybody 12? It's going for 10 at the moment to Peter. 12, 12, 14. 14 to number, I don't know if you're number 9 or number 6, actually. So, yeah. But anyway, it's 14 to number 9 or number 6. And 15. 15 to Peter. 15, going up 15 once, twice, 3 times. Okay, anything else? Oh, little tiny disc holder. Who give us £1 for that? It's got glass in it. Thing. Okay, anybody give us £2? £2, £2, £2. It's a little license holder, actually, little mini round thing. Okay, give us 3. Give us a fiver. Fiver for this one. 6. Okay, what about 8? 8. Otherwise, going for 6 to the back row. 6, 6. Going, gone. Okay, so that's going to the back. Now, who's building a steamboat and needs a very small propeller? We don't know its pitch. Anybody interested in that? Pardon? No, it's not food grade. No, it's not. But it's rather nice. It's very coarse. It obviously came from a very small and powerful steamboat. Yeah, cocktail Sarah. Let's give that a fiver. Anybody want to sell? Buy that for a fiver? Fiver? No. If there's no, oh, hold it to the back. For a fiver. Anybody give a 6? 6, 6. Otherwise, going for to Ned at the back. Go. Good. Yeah. At the next AGM. There's just a box of books here. These come from Richard Mitchell, actually, and they will benefit the SPA. So there's various useful books, about mainly, what does that say? It's narrow gauge railways and things like that. Who will give us a couple of quid for a box of books? I don't want to take them home because they've been cluttering up my study for ages. £2. Pound. We've got a pound. Or £2. £2. £2 to number 19. Anybody give us 3? Yes. 3. £4. Otherwise, it's £2. £2 going, gone. Very good. That's it. Yeah, and then finally, those two. These things come from IKEA, and we've all got these in our boats because IKEA make them for, I think, washing baskets. But they can be made into very nice gratings for a steamboat. Anybody want those? A couple of quid. A couple of quid for those. They are very much teak-alike. £2. Anybody give us 3? 3. Otherwise, they're going to number 17 for 2. Sold to number 17 for £2. And an ensign, a red duster. There we go. There we are, the real McCoy. Somebody give us a couple of quid for that. £2. £2 to the back. Anybody give us 3? 3. Anybody give us a fiver? £5. £6. £6 to the back. 7. 8. 8 over there to 14. 10. Possible 10. Otherwise 8 to number 14. 10 to number 12. No, to 14. 12. Let's say 14. 14 for number 14. No go. So it's to number 6. Okay, £12 number 6 sold. Okay, to number 6 to Phil Jones. Now, right, these are right. Are they leather and heat proof? £2 for a nice pair of what size are they? Oh, the hands. Apparently, they're hand size. That's really helpful insert there. Yeah. £2 for those. £2 going for £2. These are. Do we have a possible buyer? Yeah, okay. Otherwise, not going. Pop them back, and somebody else can negotiate with that. Okay, who's selling these, by the way? Oh, this is Jill. Okay. Useful children's life jackets. Very useful to have these aboard, actually, just in case you have little ones aboard. Let's start those at a £5. Yes, you do. £5 for these 2 children's life jackets. Anybody give us, let's say, 7. 7. Otherwise, going for a £5 to the back row. Up. 8. Oh, are they? They're for Shamrock. Okay, 8. Anybody give us 10? 10 to Ray at the back there. 10, 12 pounds. 12. Anybody going prepared to give us for £12? Otherwise, it's 10 to Ray Sebald. You'll give us 12. Okay, 14, 15 at the backs. Let's say 17. Okay. Do we have 20? 20. We've got 20 now. Decent bid from Peter. £20. 22. 22 to Ray. Going at 22. Speak now or forever. Going to Ray Sybil. What number are you, Ray? Yep, number 31. And Kevin's bits. Very nice pressure gauge. £100. Very decent, made by Lines of Bristol. I think we should start that at, let's say, are you happy with 25, Kevin? 25, let's start at 25. Who will give us 25 for that nice pressure gauge? £25 for a very nice pressure, or 20. Who will give us 20 for it? Hang on a bit, chaps. Let's, £20. 20. Nobody buying for 20. The pressure's a bit low, isn't it? £100. Okay. 15. Anybody give us £15 for that pressure gauge? 15. Okay, I will buy that at 15 if nobody else wants it. Anybody else prepared to offer us, say, 17? Okay, 15 sold to Rudel. Okay, 15. Now this looks interesting. It's an Avo. It's an Avo, isn't it? I think a pitot tube speed measurement. Airspeed. Right, okay. It's not to get your boat up to sort of the speed of sound or anything. Okay, who will give us, let's say, let's start that at 20. Who would give us £20 for that? It's unusual. £20. Start at 15 then. It started at 15. 15. Yeah. Let's start it at 10. Anybody prepared to give us £10 to number 6? To number 6. £10 to number 6. Gone. Okay. A nice big chuck with a taper and its key. £5 for that. For your lathe. It's number 2, Mills. Is it? Okay. Anybody give us a £5 for that? A £5. Not going. Let's put that away. Oh, you will, to Brian. Okay, £5 to Brian. Once, twice, sold to Brian Butcher for a £5. And another chuck here. Yes. No key with this one, but a nice looking chuck. Let's say start that at 2. 2 for this, £2. £2. Again, not going. Have a word with, who do they have a word with? Hang on, we've got a buyer over here. Simon Maltby is interested. £2 for number 2. Going, gone. Okay. One more chuck. And this one rather smaller. So number 1 Morse taper. So let's start that at, let's say 2. Who would like to pay £2 for that? It's good. £2. Again, not going, so pop it back. Right, what's next on the list? Right, very nice reflex water gauge here. A big one from some hefty boiler or other, but it's got its glass in. All it needs is its top and bottom fittings. Let's start that at 25 quid. Who would give us 25 quid for a reflex gauge? 25? 20. Let's start at 20 then. Yeah, 20 to number 17. Are you prepared to go to 25? No, but 20 we've got. 25 to number 19. Anybody prepared to go up to 30 for that one? 30. 30. Otherwise, it's 25. 25. Over to number 17. Right. Anybody go to 30 for it? These things are hard to find. Hard to find. Okay, £25 to number 17, I think. Okay, going, gone. Thank you. Now, this one is one of the more interesting things we got here. This is a casting for a cannon barrel. Well, yes, it's not made yet. It's just a casting at the moment. So you're okay. So it's a very nice cannon barrel. And I think most of our boats should be armed. So anyway, there's drawings to go with it. So if you want to build some kind of little bow chaser for your steamboat, I always wanted one, actually. And there were a few people I'd have liked to sink. But there we go. But anyway, we've got this. And let's start that. Who'd give us a tenner for a very nice casting here? Tenner. It's cast iron. Yeah, it's the real McCoy. £10. £10 and the drawings. Number 4. Anybody give us 12 for that? 12? Anybody for 12? Yes, a duck. You could make it out of a duck call, says Malcolm. Duck. You must know about that. Yeah. Right, £12. Okay, £10 to the back. Sold to Ned at number 5, I think. Oh, number 4. Number 4. So that's sold. Dot is selling now a cordless drill. Let's have a look at it. Who's made it? It looks fairly hefty and it looks fairly recent. So it looks a nice one. Black & Decker, 18 volts. So that's a goodie. No. Let's start that. Reserve is £10. It started at 10. So who will give us £10 for that? In its box, £10 for a nice drill. 2 batteries, 18 volts, £10. Give a tenner to Peter. Anybody give us 12 for it? 12, 12, 12. Otherwise, going to Peter Hammond for, oh, hang on, £12. 12, 15, 15 to Peter. Anybody give us, let's say, 18, 18, 18 to number 19. 18, £20, £20, £20. Otherwise, it's 18. Going to number 9. Are you number 19? No, what number are you? Okay, sold. Okay, £18. Really useful set here of every kind. There's a reserve of £50, which sounds modest to me. There's drawers with all sorts of things, fittings. So this is a really lovely thing. It's got endless drills in it, so it's actually a drill heaven, this box. I think we should start this at, let's start this at 30. 30 for that. Who, like me, suffers from blunt drills, really should buy it. So £30. £30 number 27. 35. Do we have 35? 35. 35. Otherwise, £30. What number? 35 to number 27. 40. 40 to number 10. 40. 45. 45. 45. Or number 40. Number 40 going to number 10. So there we go. Very good. It is, absolutely. But you can drill anything with it. Right. Another one from Dot. Another looks very recent in a nice clean box. Hammer drill, probably. It's had some use, but looks very decent. Let's start that at 10. £10 for a nice drill there. £10. £10. Do we have £10 for that drill? Just an ordinary one. £10. Fiver. Who'll give us a fiver for it? Although the reserve is 10, so let's take it off. No, okay, we can carry on, can we? Anybody give us a fiver for it? Fiver to Simon. Fiver. Anybody give us 10? 10. Otherwise, it's a fiver to Simon Maltby, which is number 2. Okay, going for a fiver to Simon Maltby. Going, gone. Okay. Useful socket set. Metrics. AF and metric socket set. A reserve of 5. Who'll give us £5 for a nice socket set? To the back, £5. 6. Okay, let's go up to 8. 8. Who'll give us 10? 10. Give us 10. All right, 12. 12. 12. Or are we staying? Okay, 12. Who will give us 15? Shoot the man at the back in the white shirt. We've got, where are we? £12? £12, 15? 15 to Peter. 15. Do we have any advance on 15? Going? 16. All right. 18. Do we have, John, any advance on, are you going to give us 18 or are you going to stay with 16? You are mouldy. Sorry, I shouldn't say that as the auctioneer. Anyway, £16. £18 to Peter Hammond. 18. Going at 18. 18. Going to Peter Hammond, who doesn't have a number, but he's buying a lot of things. So there we go. Another Black & Decker. Oh, this is a
variable speed scrolling saw, jigsaw with some blades.
Yeah. 10. Go. There's a reserve on this of £10. We'll start that. I think. Let's start that at 12. Okay, £12. Who'll £12 for a very nice scrolling saw. £12. Back to 10. What about 10? Who'll give us £10 for this? £10. £10. Okay, I'll have that for £10. So that's fine. Put me down for that one, if you will, please. Was that okay? Sorry, insider dealing, I know, but there we go. Job lot of files, an 11-piece metal file set, punch and chisel set, 20-piece, what is it? Some kind of power screwdriver and screwdriver. It's an impact driver, yeah, that's right. And torque accessories. No reserve on this one. So is this the whole shooting match? The whole lot? Okay, let's start this at 10. It looks rather useful, particularly if you're a mechanic restoring vehicles. £10. Do we have 12 to number 8? What about 15? 15, 20 to Kevin. 22. It's 20 to Kevin. Going, gone. Next time I'm going to bring my own hammer. You know, scissors are just not suitable. But there, yeah.
We have a 50-piece multi-tool set.
Right, what sort of multi-tool? Oh, it's a Dremel. Those are really, really useful.
Dremel style. Yes.
Dremel style. Yeah, okay. Let's start that, shall we, at £10? £10. £10 for that Dremel style tool. Really useful thing, actually, these things. £10. Do we have £5? Do we have 5? Do we have £5? Yes, we do, from Ray. £5. Do we now have 8? Do we have 8? 5 to Ray Sibbald. Okay, going for £5 to Ray. Going on to number 31. Boiler, tube expander, quite a big one. What size? This is Shamrock stuff now. So it'll be Shamrock sized, I should think. So somebody got a big locomotive boiler. Basically you, Nigel. You've got one. Staggeringly expensive. So it says, yeah, you haven't got your teeth in, have you? So I can't actually read it myself. Yes, you can. But it's a nice looking thing in very good condition. And Malcolm is just about to decipher it. He's just put his reading glasses on and his teeth in. M719. Is that suitable for anybody? Is it needed for the Keith Locomotive Works? You're thinking about it. It's an inch outside diameter. Yep. Right. More than that. If you can find one. Yeah. Let's start that one, shall we, at 25. Who's going to give us 25 for the tube expander? Okay, everybody give us 30. 30 for it. 30. Otherwise, it's going for 25. Over to Holland. It won't come back easily. 25. Going, gone. Right. Here we are, bringing us back to earth, aren't you, Ian? Anchoring us down. So a nice anchor there. Give us a £5. Who'll give us a £5 for an anchor? You should have one of these aboard. £5. Yeah. 5. 4. He's got to economise. He's a pensioner. 4. 4 going to John at the back, unless anybody will give us £5. 5 over here to Alan. 5. 4. No, I know you can't. But Alan can. So it's going over to number. Alan, are you happy with 5? 5 to number 1. Going, gone. Okay. So that anchor went for £5 to ticket holder number 1. Right. Jeweler's screwdrivers are these. What are these? A whole set of things. Okay. Goodness me. And a Dremel tools. So some really useful stuff here. What's in that box? A little miniature socket set.
No, sorry, that's a craft Acto saw.
An Acto saw there. So this is for indoor crafts mainly, but a nice looking set. Anybody give us a 10 who perhaps has a crafty partner who they want to keep sweet because they've let them out today. £10. Let's start them at £10. £10 for this group of mainly indoor tools, one of which is a power tool. £10. £10. No, £5. Who will give us a £5 for them? Yup, £5 over to Paul. £5. Anybody 6? 6. Anybody prepared to give 6? Otherwise, it's a £5 to Paul Slack. Who you are? Number 14. Thank you. And what's next? My word, you've got 2-man service there to hand everything over. This is now while they're doing that, I've got a little thing here that was sent to me. I've had it in my pocket. This came in a parcel, and I was asked to pass it on to some worthy person in the SBA. And I did point out that there was no worthy person in the SBA. It's a small and rather beautiful tap. Can you rip that open for me, please, Phil? And free. It's ideal for a Windermere kettle, and it came from Derek Mills historically. Some of you will know Derek Mills, who SBA, and came to me. I'll have a bit of paper, thank you. And there's the little tap. It's a little sweetie. Look at that. Perfect for your Windermere kettle. And I said, well, I'll try and find an innovative way of getting rid of it, perhaps at the auction. And so this will go to the first person who puts up a hand. Eckhart, I'm going to ask if you could stand there and see who puts up a hand first. I don't want any cheating with this. I know what you're like. Nice little taper thread. The question I'm going to ask is, who invented compounding? Jim at the back. It was Jim. It was. It goes to the man at the back. Take it to him. Yeah. Jim at the back in the hat. Yeah. So that comes from Derek Mills historically. Okay, what have we got here? Oh yeah, this is a polisher. It's a polisher. So to make your brass really shine, this also is a dot one, and it comes. Let's start that at a 10, shall we? 10 for an auto polisher. It would be useful for your car as well. Okay, £10 or £5. Let's start with a 5. 5 over there. £10 to you, Nigel. No, £10 to Nigel. Anybody gives 12? 12, 15. Who gives us 15 for it? 15. Otherwise, it's 12 to Bert. Gone to number 8. Okay, thank you. And what have we got here?
We've got an extension lead, single socket.
That's always useful. Has it been pack tested? No, but it looks pretty decent, so that's okay. Who will give us a couple of quid for that? £2. £2 for an extension lead. £2. No takers, so that can go back. And this looks like a sander and something else.
Polishing.
Various abrasive things to go in your drill. Polishing mops and so on. But they all fit on a Black & Decker drill. Anybody give us a £5 for those? £5. £2. Anybody give us £2? Nobody. Let's pop that back. If you want to put these things afterwards, have a word with Dot. Negotiate with her. She'll drive a hard bargain, but she'll be. They are for Shamrock. You'll still drive a hard bargain, would you? Well, they're dead right. A vacuum, a really nice, Budenberg, isn't it? Schaffer and Budenberg. Very nice vacuum gauge, which looks perfect. Let's just try it, shall we? works. I haven't got it or anything, so you're okay. Let's try. Let's start that at a tenner. Tenner for a vacuum gauge. Tenner to the back. 15. 15. Do we get 15, or is it staying with 10? 15, or stay? Oh, hang on. We've got 15 over here to number 10. Anybody give us 20 for it? 20. 20 over here to Ray. 25. 25. Otherwise, it's 20 to Ray Sibbald. 20. Going. Gone. Okay. And a micrometer. Anybody? Number 31. That was a micrometer. Wave it in the air. Do you remember these? We used to use those in the days before electronics. So, anybody want a domed anvil? Yeah, that is unusual, isn't it? Ah, yes, for tube walls. Yeah. Okay. Anybody interested in that? Give us a couple of quid for it. Oh yes. £2. Number 19. £5. £5. Anybody give us more than £5? 6, 7, 7, 7. Do we get 8? 8, 8. Oh, try 10. 10 to number 19. 10 to number 19. Anybody give us 12? 12. 10 to number 19. Going, gone. And what have we got here, Ian? We've got a multimeter. Got of a wonderful ancient style, but it works, I'm sure. Fiver for that. £2. Let's try £2. £2. Anybody give us £2? Not going to go, so that can go back on the table. And what we got here, and this, as my friend Eckhart here said, we think this came from Frankenstein's workshop, and yes, rather nice, isn't it? So there we go. Who would be interested in this? £5 for that, just for its beautiful bits, its gauges. There's a what? Yeah, yes, there is. It's wonderful, isn't it? It's just across there. Okay, who'd give us a £5 for that? £5. What were they? Well, it's got, what's it got? It's all DC, isn't it? Yes. So it goes up to 50 volts. Okay. 22. Bring us a £5. He's been very quiet as our secretary here. 22 is offering us a £5. Who would offer us, say, £10 for it? £10. Otherwise, it goes for a £5 for a very deserving Mark Needham. £5. Going, gone. Are you starting up a Frankenstein workshop? Okay. Yes, I know. There we go.
We have a double socket extension lead. This, I think, is probably our last item. So let's see if we can do it back.
Yeah. Very, very tasty. Exactly right. So there we go. Let's start that at these things are really useful. Give us a £5 for that. £5 for anybody. Right, £2. £2. Anybody give us 5? Got £2 so far. £5. Otherwise, it goes for £2. And to number. Oh well. There's always 2. Yeah. Going, gone. And I think that's it. One more item. Oh, what's that? Ceramic insulation for your boiler. Look at that. Now that is beautiful. Now there's a reserve on this one because this stuff's expensive. We're going to start that at 45. It's never been used. Okay. £45 is what we're starting that on. Anybody give us 45? 45. You'll take half that. Okay, we're going to go down to 30, actually. Let's try 30, because I don't want you to be ripped off with this. It's good. 30, 32, number 33. Anybody give us 35 for it? Going for £30 to number 33 to Nigel Thompson. Going. You happy with that? Gone. That's it, everybody. Thank you so much for being part of this.